Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, everybody. However, you happen to be watching or listening, I want to welcome you to the Gaming Circle podcast. The podcast where this week one of your hosts is in a construction zone. Show must go on. So we're just kind of, taking our hollow, tinny sounding microphone and our old school presentation, and we're still bringing it to you because what you're here for is the conversation, and that will just be as hot as it always is around here. So thanks everybody for coming to check us out. I am your host, Mr. K. Asante. You can find me in all the places you're looking for me. And of course, I am joined this week, as always, by my brother from another mother, the man who this week people can really be convinced that he is my evil twin. The man who's on these Twitter streets handing out mirrors and telling them to insult the people they see on the inside. Mr. Everborn Saga, what's going on?
Actually, whenever you see me with the Al Bundy GIF, it is because I'm handing out free shoes. And if they happen to fit you, try them on. I don't know. But you are not the only one at a construction site, sir. As I was telling you offline, they are right now outside of my window in my house, looking at the backyard, building a retaining wall to keep things safe, because we're going to do the whole outdoor kitchen and jacuzzi and all that stuff.
I was about to say, because y'all are just going all bougie with your outside jacuzzis and whatnot over here, huh? Okay, all right.
Let's not talk about your whole house renovation, sir.
Hey, mine is a travesty-democracy, as some would say. But that's a whole different conversation.
And you guys need to wish me luck, because me and my father are going to build that deck with our bare hands.
Oh, man, that's beautiful, bro. That is beautiful.
We needed to bring in people to build the wall, but other than that, we're going to take the whole thing ourselves. We're going to build the gazebo. If you're close to a Costco, they have these gazebos on display. We bought one of those. We're going to put that together, but first we're going to build the deck, and then we're going to order the
If only I had the skills to do this, I wouldn't have spent the egregious amount of money I've spent on my renovation. But we won't go to there right now, because that's going to make me cry. Forget about it. That's very cool, bro.
How successful it was going to come out. I just said we're going to do it.
The fact that you're trying it in and of itself is impressive to me, because I didn't even bother trying. My wife was like, "You going to do what? Let's call the professionals."
A man should work with his hands and not just by typing with them.
And this man does work with his hands. Slapping. No, I'm sorry. That's a wrong conversation. But anyway, so, okay. This week, we're going to have a very interesting conversation, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of news that we can cover, but I'm going to try and not cover all of them. I'm always trying to cover as much as possible, but it makes this show go on far too long, in my humble opinion. We're going to keep it tight for 2 hours this week.
Yeah, we're just going to stick to UNSC propaganda, because this is Commander Keys.
Oh, I was about to say, yeah, and I insist that you all call me Captain Keys from now on. Every time and not just Captain Keys, you have to call me Captain Keys. Just like the Master Chief says it every time you see me. But no, we're not going there. Let us start as we always do, because I'm hoping that you are in recovery now, good sir. I'm hoping that the drug has bypassed you and you are now on the other side of it.
No.
What are you playing, good sir? Are you playing Elden Ring?
Elden Ring now, Elden Ring tomorrow. Maybe Elden Ring forever, because I can't beat the Fire Giant. I'm at
can't beat the Fire Giant.
65. I think I'm rounding out 100 hours in the game, and I mean he cheats. I don't know what else to say.
So the computer cheats. Okay, yes. Understood. Yes. What level are you again?
165.
You're 165 level. How much does it cost you? How much runes does it cost you to level one more after that?
180,000, 190,000.
Wow. Holy.
Listen, but here's the thing. I part of me feels like I need to go to level 200 to come back and beat him, but I always get him within a quarter of his life span. So I feel like I could do it. I'm just not disciplined enough, because you know when you always go for that extra last hit, and then you're stuck in that last hit animation, and then the enemy will do something crazy. I need to be more judicious with my melee attacks, because I'm a melee build. And I don't think
you got no magic, none of that, right? Yeah. That's true. Okay.
Yeah, but the fire giant, you have to attack.
One minute. No need to interrupt. But as I said when I promoted this show, we might have some special guests. And as everyone knows, we will be talking PlayStation. We will be talking subscription services. And I wanted to have a bit of a tinge to this conversation. I didn't want to have the same old, oh, PlayStation's doing this. They're comparing it to Xbox. What do you think? I wanted a developer's perspective. So, once again, I am humbled and I'm honored to be joined by one of my oldest friends, Mr. Mashano Loon, calling us directly from Colombia? Question mark?
What kind of?
What's good, homie? Welcome, man. Welcome. How you doing?
When he says oldest, everybody's like, "How old exactly? How old is?"
Oh, he believe it or not, see the grays, see these grays? He's older than me. So there you go. That's
Why are
right.
you throwing the man under the bus like that?
Throwing him under the bus. I'm saying, look at me, and he's older than me. That man is damn good looking. What are you trying to say?
Age out there like that?
I didn't throw my age out there like that. Who knows how old I am? Calm down, you. Anyway,
you can't start with this old man is here.
The oldie's here. I look old, but he really is old.
You see?
No, that's just me clowning. That's just me clowning.
At the Oscars right now, boy.
If we were at the Oscars right now, I'd have to watch myself and duck and dodge.
I got that Will Smith fade. I don't know what.
Oh my goodness! So welcome, man. Welcome.
I get your hand out of my pocket.
Oh yes. Keep your name out my. It's a PG-13 show. Forgive me. Yes. So Mashano, welcome to the show. Thanks again for jumping in and joining us. It's great that you can join us. I'm hoping that you can give us a bit of a different perspective. We have a few stories that would benefit from somebody who's potentially in the room. So I'm hoping you could give us some insights that might not be something that folks are talking about. But it's good to have you here. How have you been? What you up to these days?
Yeah, good to see you guys, man. Been loving the podcast. You guys really upgraded the podcast, man. I remember when it first kicked off, and stuff is. I mean, it was cool then. It's even cooler now, man. I'm loving the podcast. Yeah, I'm good. I'm coming to you live from Medellin, Colombia. So,
and can I ask what you're doing there, or are you just chilling?
No, chilling. No, like you said, I'm old. I have responsibilities. So I can't.
He said I'm old.
I think I stopped chilling around 22. When those first bills hit, you're like, "What is chilling?"
Indeed.
I'm working remotely and traveling. So I've been in Costa Rica. I've been in Mexico. I'm coming back. I live in Canada, right? You guys are in the States. Coming back to Canada in May, or at least that's what the plan looks like. It's a long story, but we're abroad. So yeah, I've been watching the gaming news develop. Some interesting stuff out there.
Some interesting stuff, yeah. So before we get into it, now you watch the show. Usually we get into the games we've been playing and this and that. But for the rare few who may not know what you do, may not know why you would be pertinent to a gaming conversation, why don't you give us a quick synopsis of what you've done, why your voice is important in a room such as this? Go ahead, real quick.
Oh yeah, well I won't say it's important, but maybe it can help. So Casey and I met many years ago, like 60 years ago, right, Kay?
Yeah, 60 years ago.
60
that's
years
right.
ago, yeah.
Yep. I was 12 at the time. Yeah, and you were like 35.
Start with board games. I'm kidding.
We were playing with abacuses at the time,
Play with rocks we found in the woods.
Indeed.
No. We met years ago. It was always crazy about games, and then in 2008, I actually moved into the gaming industry. Started out testing at Electronic Arts, got into project management at Electronic Arts, which sounds like a really easy sentence, but basically means you work 7 days a week. 10 hours a day, you get paid $4. More or less. So, but the perfect place to learn about the game industry. And then I moved into production, worked at Ubisoft for a while on a title that was doomed to fail and ultimately did fail. One of many industry stories that we can get into one time if you want to have a hard laugh or a really deep cry. Depending on your mood, I'll probably be in the latter.
In the latter half, understood.
And then my mentor, who kind of the first producer I ever met, Roger Collum. He was a lead producer on Fortnite, and now he's one of the head of studios at DICE. They just dropped the new Battlefield, of course. He's the first producer I met. I was like, "What's the producer?" I don't have a clue. He turned me on to producing, and he actually was talking to me about this new game they were doing. Epic was doing this new game. It's called Fortnite. Sounds really great now, but at the time, it's like me calling you now and saying like, "Hey, man, I'm working on a game called Bubble Doo. Are you in?" You'd be like, "The hell's Bubble Doo? I'm not sure if this is gonna go anywhere, but anyway, sure." I was in, so got this. The funny story there is that I'm a huge Gears of War fan. I was like, I'm joining Epic. I want to work on the next Gears of War. I don't care about this Fortnite stuff. Just give me Gears of War. And like literally the first week I was there, I was in the meeting room and they said, "This is gonna be on the news really soon, in like about 1 or 2 hours. But we just sold all the Gears of War IP to Microsoft." Damn, I don't want to be here. I remember thinking that.
Everborn, if you're talking, you're on mute, brother. I can't hear you. Say again.
Sorry. No, I was saying, so they were working on Fortnite way back at that time when they.
Bro, yes, it was a single player. It was a single player game. It was like, had a campaign and the whole thing.
So when did Fortnite originally come out? Because they saw the Gears sale was many years ago, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the Fortnite release date was 2017. So this was in like 2013, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There you go.
And I don't know if I'm breaking my NDA. I guess not. But if I am,
we promise you, nobody's watching. Go ahead. Keep going. Keep going.
They can't find me. Anyway, so at the time I remember being in that meeting, and I was really confused. Like, why the hell would you sell your biggest IP? That makes no sense to me. Like, this is what a weird strategy. But the thinking really was officially coming from the top guy, from Tim, so that nobody had to worry about funds and salaries, and that everybody could do really the best work, and they were all in on Fortnite. And I was like, why? Because I was playing
in
it
2013. They were all in on Fortnite.
Yeah, they were.
But remember, this Fortnite's not the Fortnite you know now. The Fortnite you knew then was a Fortnite campaign. There was base building and stuff. There was no battle royale. There was none of that. It was single player, save the world Fortnite campaign.
No, I get that part. I guess what I'm saying is like the original Fortnite, even in the way you're describing it, released in 2017. So I'm saying back in 2013, they were like in bet the company mode on Fortnite, and it's just so they believed in it, because I always figured Fortnite was a thing that they were like, it's a game we put out and it caught fire. Unbeknownst to us.
This was not like a sleeper hit. But one important part about this story. So I remember coming there and somebody told me this is going to be the highest quality free-to-play single-player experience of all time. Now that sounds so funny because it's nothing like that. But credit to Epic, while I was there, we already were doing playtest sessions for multiplayer stuff. But this was kind of like so this was in Epic Games in Poland, because I lived in Europe, and they were working with Epic Games in the States and a bunch of other studios. And Epic Games Poland was actually People Can Fly. Now currently they are again People Can Fly. They bought back their rights and their People Can Fly again. They made a game called Bulletstorm, which we all played, loved, and hate for not having a multiplayer.
Yep. And for those who remember, they're also the people that made Outriders. Continue, good sir.
Yeah, they also made Outriders. And work on
people that still didn't get paid.
They still didn't get paid. Yes, Square Enix haters. Continue.
Bro, it's 9:15 here, man. I'm barely awake. What's going on?
The slander. You know the show. The slander is hot and heavy. Welcome, Bunty. Nice to see you, Gabe O, Mr. Joanna Dark. Thank y'all for joining us. Machado, continue on the story. Yes. So last we left you, we were talking about how People Can't Fly did not get paid from Square Enix. Go for it.
So I'm sitting in this room and they're like, "Hey guys," and things got really crazy because they were even saying like, because at Epic headquarters they had a big statue of Gears of War, and they said we even have to give away the big statue at the headquarters, and people in our studio were like, "What? Nah, that's not cool. Why can't we keep that statue?" They took it off.
Yeah, why would you take the statue?
Because they were like, "This is ours now. We want all of it."
You know, I remember there was an old Mace album where he had a skit and he was breaking up with a girl. He was like, "I want my couch out that shit."
Like PG-13.
I want my couch out this premises.
That's right.
Like it's got like what is it like? Eddie Murphy's brother skit when Rick James goes to the couch. I'm insulting your couch, my brother.
Go ahead, yeah, PG-13 that up. Let's see how you do that one.
Anyway,
Good luck with
I'm
that.
Sitting in the room and I'm thinking, what the beep is wrong with these dudes? Years of War is the bomb. I want to work on the next one. What am I even doing? I'm really because I mean, you know me. I'm like super impulsive. I'm not thinking long term. I'm thinking now. You know, and I'm thinking, oh God. Here we go again. Is this gonna be some kind of like Bulletstorm thing where there's not gonna be any multiplayer on this either, and they're gonna cut that out completely because we were playtesting multiplayer, and let's say that the work day was just like crazy work, like overtime from day one. No disrespect, I love everybody at People Can Fly, but there was just so much that had to be done. So we were like doing overtime, and then I was in production. So there's lots of stuff to do, but then we'd have these test sessions, and everybody was always hyped up about these multiplayer test sessions because it was mad fun. And then Sebastian, they had a studio there. He was a cheater. We'd be like, okay, we start at like 5 p.m. or 4 p.m. and 5 to the top of the hour, he'd be already out like getting supplies. But we thought he was just testing out stuff, but he would be getting ready and he would be way ahead of us and he'd be killing everybody. That was the kind of atmosphere. So actually we had mad fun, and they had a lot of really cool modes that they haven't even put in the game. And this was around the time that this battle royale concept was starting to bubble up, and somebody at Epic put one and one together and was like, hey, we have a multiplayer our teams love. It's obvious because people are playing it, they're loving it. Battle royale, this multiplayer we have, battle royale. Somebody put that together, and then there was this switch. But Epic was all in. They were all in Fortnite.
Even in the beginning of Fortnite, huh? That's crazy.
They were ready.
That is crazy.
They were ready to sell anything, and it was funny.
I remember I played the Founders Edition when it was still single player. I don't even think you can find that anymore. You probably can't play the OG campaign of Fortnite anymore. I bought that originally, like it was free to play. But I bought the original version, right after they did the other. They had released something else, and then Fortnite came right after it when it failed. I think it was their other MOBA there was something else, to the point where ultimately they even released all of the assets in the Epic Game Store, the Epic Unreal Engine, so everybody could play with them and make different games with it. And then they released Fortnite. And I remember playing that going, the single player is all right, but that multiplayer, boy, that looks like it's got a future.
I'm one of the few people that sat and read through the entire script of the single player.
Wow.
It was like, because I remember coming in there and somebody told me that, and I was like, that's a really big statement you just made about this being the best.
About it being like the best single player.
I played a few hundred. So can I see the script? So somebody emailed me the script and I read the whole thing. And it was basically from the brain from I think one or two people. And I was like, there's a storm. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to do. But anyway, there's a storm and there's this whole backstory, and it kind of made sense,
And didn't they kind of put the storm idea into the battle royale stuff? They did, really, right? Where they got rid of the map and they brought it back and they brought different characters from different dimensions in, all through that storm idea. I do recall like that original plan was there from the single player. But you know what? You know what? We're going off on a tangent. We're turning this into the Fortnite podcast.
I started producing the game production. Ended up becoming a producer on Candy Crush Saga. The big mobile game. Massive game, makes about $1 billion a year, 900 to $1 billion US.
It's funny how all of your studios are kind of becoming Microsoft studios these days, but that's neither here nor there. Let's keep it moving, right? I mean. You've been a Microsoft employee how many times now? Like 3-4 times now, without actually ever collecting a Microsoft check. That's pretty funny. I'm just saying.
No, I couldn't.
I think Marciano needs to be acquired for $68.7 billion. That's what
I'm just saying.
I mean, I need a piece of that. if you do, but I'm just
I do
saying.
it for less.
Yeah, he's there for less. That's right. But okay.
Anyway, I'm
So
mechanic for Saga, and then I'm just in the production game and consulting for companies, and that really becomes my thing. Becoming the person between, for those who are watching, are like, what the hell does a producer even do? The person between the heads of studio and leading the actual teams developing the game, and it's 50% business and 50% creative. You can't just walk in. It's not like any project manager can just show up and you don't know anything about games. They're gonna ask you, "What do you think of this? How do you think this feels? How do you think this sounds? How do you think this? What's missing? And that's you have to drive that. You need to know what's going on in the market. You have to understand the players in and out. It's just the weirdest, coolest job ever, basically.
Hey, by the way, we're working on a 2D beat 'em up for Everborn.
There we go.
Hey, what are you working on?
We're doing a 2D beat 'em up for Everborn in Redlands.
Cool.
I might have to do some consulting with you when we get this vertical slice ready.
Oh man, I'm excited. Yeah, this is.
I don't know if I can afford your rate, but like.
No, I got you, man. One of my really big things this year, I think that's for all of us, is just uplifting Black creators, Black studios, Black game companies. That's a really big thing for me.
So it's funny that Marciano says that. Ever since this whole thing started, ever since we've gotten to know like people like Sarah Bond and this and that. One of the conversations I have with Mr. Marciano Loons in the background that now people will hear me say publicly is, "Get your money right, player. Where is your team, bruh? They're handing out the monies for awesome Black creators to come out with some interesting stuff. We want to see y'all do something." Yeah. I'm hoping and praying that one day that translates. People that are out there, they're still doing that. The creators who may not necessarily be the ones whose voices are always heard. They're really out there now trying to, not only to say that, hey, we look at us, we did that, but also to have different content be available. So if you haven't thought about it, now's the time. They're out there. The wallets are open. You just need to have the right information to be able to collect the check these days. So. It's good.
That's so different from even 5 years ago. Love Sarah Bond. Always following her stuff on LinkedIn. She's always posting really, really interesting stuff. Love what they're doing at Microsoft. Not saying that I don't love what they're doing at Sony. Apparently, that's the thing.
Of course.
You can't like cake, because if you like cake, you automatically hate pasta. Apparently,
you hate pie. Yeah, welcome to the world we live in. Welcome to the world we live in.
I said a word about pie. I just like cake.
That's right. What's the problem?
Anyway, so that's my history right now. For the first time since 2008, I'm actually not working in gaming now. I'm working for this startup in San Francisco because I got old and had all these responsibilities. No, I'm kidding. I'm working for this startup in San Francisco. And they're, Casey, our other huge passion is music, and they're a concert streaming service that's concert streaming meets social, and hopefully in the future lots of gamification. So that's a really interesting thing I've been working on. It's an exciting thing to work on. But gaming, it's got.
If you're a gamer, you're always a gamer. Yes, it is what it is.
Next up, Everborn's game. Got to make that a smash.
Yes. See, you got people already here trying to like pull sides. You got Polly Baba saying pie is trash.
Oh, he's one of those guys. Okay. I see.
Welcome, Polly Baba. So we took, and Pixel. We see Pixel in the building. Other developers in the building as well. Thank you guys. Thank you so much, Pixel, for joining us. So we took a little bit of this time to kind of get people familiar with what you do and what you bring to the conversation. Mr. Everborn Saga says he's been playing nothing but Elden Ring. Have you played Elden Ring yet, Marciano? I'm sure this will be a short conversation.
Before he answers that, have you opened your Series X yet?
Oh my god! Oh no! Tell me you've opened your Series X. So real quick before he answers, when the Series X was coming out, we were all on the internet, doing the F5 as you do, right? Mr. Marciano Loon was with me. We're all like, "Yo, we got to get the new consoles. It's gonna be amazing. This and that." It took a while. We all got our consoles. Marciano got his console. He refused to open the console. Why? Because, dang it, if I am going to watch an OLED screen for the first time, it better have an exclusive Matrix movie that's not available anywhere else but except on this OLED screen. And I thought he was ridiculous then.
Basically.
The question is, he's still ridiculous now.
The last time we spoke must have been like September or something last year. In November, I started. I was out, right?
Yeah, you started traveling.
It feels like he's building up to a no.
He's building up to no. So you spent $500 almost 2 years ago, and you've never opened this thing out of the box.
But listen to me though. Listen, all the trial, error, and non-exclusives, I didn't have to deal with that. I'm walking into the party fresh.
But that's bullshit. That's absolutely ridiculous, bro.
That's bullshit.
That's absolutely ridiculous, bro. I can't believe it. So you have bought this thing, the thing that people are charging like quadruple extra for. You got your hands on one almost 2 years ago, and it's been sitting in the box ever since.
I was to open it the day Halo came out.
And then you didn't.
I couldn't. It came out 2 weeks after.
Do you still play the 1S? He played the 1S because he thought it was no difference in this. You still play the 1S.
Oh, no, the thing was I was looking everywhere for the Series X, right? So I'm looking everywhere. Obviously, I'm going to stores. They don't have it. Obviously, I'm looking online. They don't have it. The only reason I have it is because you tweeted me or added me.
I found you a link in Canada where they were selling it. That's right.
It's available now. I was like, I ordered it blindly. I didn't even look at it. I just blindly ordered it. So then, out of frustration, I just bought a random Xbox One S. It made no sense.
He bought a 1S.
Just out of frustration, like I just bought it. But I love Game Pass. Not to segue into the main topic.
Sure, okay. But you're playing Game Pass on the 1S still.
Cut his mic off. Cut his mic off. That's it.
I don't want his help anymore in my game.
Wow. Oh man, we need to have a show just on this alone.
When I'm back, when I'm back and I've played for like a month, we're gonna have
we need to have that sit down conversation.
Well, I'm gonna.
All right, how about
you can throw in the video.
How about you do it for Elden Ring? Not Elden Ring. Starfield.
Okay.
I would say do it for Tunic, but okay. Starfield also works. Okay. See, because
I'm giving him time.
Sure. Halo Infinite's great.
Okay, people are playing it, right?
Oh yeah, people are still playing Halo Infinite.
People are playing it.
They're still playing Halo Infinite. Yeah, it's not like millions of players like it was, but that's because of it being a multiplayer shooter that hasn't had any content drops in a while. It gets stale, so people are waiting till the next one.
What was the one with? Was it the one with Master Chief? Was it Halo 3? No, the one that we.
They all have Master Chief.
Yeah, but the one where he
Hold on, Reach didn't have Master Chief and ODS2.
True. You're absolutely right.
Like
Chief and ODS. Yes.
Before he, I don't want to spoil it for everybody, but you're 10 years late. Before when the dude died,
you're talking Halo 4.
Sorry, yeah. So
Halo 4, I think, yeah.
With that multiplayer, I was playing it forever.
Yeah.
People still do
we
that?
play it for a long time. Right. People still do that.
Are you watching the Halo show?
Oh God, here we go.
Topic for us.
No, it's not a topic for us, but you can mention it. There is a Halo show, and yes, I look like Captain Keys.
Oh yeah.
Let's move on, shall we?
What is it on Paramount?
Can you bring
it's on Paramount Plus.
Captain Keys, please. I need him.
Oh, we'll get there when we get to the stories. I promise you, we'll get there. I will share a picture, and you will see it. You will see it.
We have a 2-hour time limit today, so I don't.
We have a 2-hour time limit. We are 30 minutes in, so let me finish up just briefly the games we've been playing, and we'll move on to what we really want to get to. As y'all can see on the screen, I am currently playing Ghostwire Tokyo. A buddy of mine gave me a free copy, so I've been trying that out. It's an interesting game. I've been playing it on PC, as you can see. You see the ray tracing and all that. It's an interesting, cool game. I wouldn't say it's amazing because there's some. I think it gets a little lost in translation, and I kind of suspected it would because even before this game was released, all of the previews and the reviews and everything that was coming out was in Japanese with English subtitles. And when you switch it to actual English subs, you kind of feel like they didn't do as good of a job with it as they did with the native language of Japanese, and it kind of makes it a little bit. You just get a loss in translation a little bit sometimes.
But doesn't is this one of those games where you probably shouldn't be playing it dubbed and you might want to play it subbed?
Yeah, you might want to play it sub, but the reason why I'm playing it this way is because, well, first and foremost, the reason why I'm playing it this way is because I wanted to like record footage that people could actually read what was on the screen, right? So I just kind of put subbed in anyway. But I experienced it in both angles, both with subbed and both without, and it just kind of feels like it's meant to be played in Japanese. You're absolutely right. It feels that way.
Let me ask you another question. Do
Mm.
you think this game should have been first person? Do you think it would have been received differently if they made this game specifically a third person game?
I see where you're coming from with that, but the reason why I think they chose to stay first person is because of the finger movements. It's very basic right now. I have more further footage where you could see even more. The actual finger dexterity gets complicated. They do a bunch of different things with the fingers, and I think if this was third person, you probably wouldn't see it as well. There are certain instances where you have to trace certain patterns on the screen and whatnot, and if you have to see the back of your character's head, that'll be hard to translate, kind of a thing. I feel like they did it for a reason.
I don't mean like direct over the shoulder, but I'm just saying like because you could have animations where he's doing like hand movements.
Oh yeah. No, even you could have even shifted into first person when those moments happened, and then go back to third. Like all that is an option. I just think that they chose this method because it kind of suited the play style, and I don't see a problem with it. It's beautiful looking, like it really is. Like especially like obviously I'm playing on a pretty equipped PC, so there's like it's running. If you can see the top little frames thing there, it's running at 110 frames per second. It's got there's a bunch of stuff going on the screen. Okay, well right now it's running at 67, 68. It's beautiful looking. I would actually love to see how this translates to console. I was playing this on PC with keyboard mouse, so and I did try a little bit of a little bit of controller, but I was trying the Xbox, and I know this was originally like put together for the DualSense. So I may plug in the DualSense and see how that is as well. If anybody hasn't played it, I think we should.
Says that it wouldn't work in third person.
It wouldn't work. Yeah, I don't think so either. Playing it the way I have, I think they justify the reason it's first right now. I think they justify it pretty well. And he also says it runs well on the Steam Deck. I appreciate that humble brag, good sir. Yes, you have your Steam Deck. Mine will start next week. Q2 emails next week. So calm yourself there, Mr. Joanna Dart. Well,
I think the Activision acquisition will happen before I get my Steam.
Before you get yours, that's what you think. But yes, I am playing Ghostwire Tokyo. It's cool. I will speak on it further as the show continues, or as I play further along in the show. Obviously, I'm also playing Tunic. I still love that game. I'm playing Elden Ring. The crack has not left the system.
Is this Shibuya?
Yes, it is. And you'll get to see it like in its full glory. You spend a lot of time in Shibuya here.
The reason, like, this is actually a very good recreation of Shibuya. Oh yeah, I didn't know that, and I've been to Japan once, but we stayed in Shibuya, and this looks like I am
like where you were.
Like this is Shibuya, so they did.
This is the best. This is the best recreation of Shibuya since Yakuza. Because Yakuza recreated Shibuya pretty well. Yakuza did. Persona has recreated Shibuya. This is the best recreation since then. This is like you can literally, if you've been and you know it well, you can walk down the street and know exactly where you're going. They really recreated this thing. And yes, Mr. John at Dark says it feels like Yakuza because they've done so much with Shibuya over the years. Yakuza has. So any game that brings up Shibuya feels like Yakuza as well. So it's a really fun game. If you haven't tried it, you should. I don't know if this is going to be in that game of the year conversation, but at least it's a worthy attempt at play.
So Mr. Joanna Dark says my Steam Deck isn't coming until 2026. So I should revise it to say not that the Activision acquisition will happen will complete before I get my Steam Deck. It's probably the Sega acquisition.
Yeah, see, and I knew as soon as you started that conversation that you were going to slip Sega in there. I'm going to move quickly along. I don't know if you noticed, Machado. You are in the presence of the biggest Sega stand on God's green earth, but that's
Oh
neither
yeah.
here nor there. The biggest Sega stand on God's green earth. When Microsoft buys Sega, and this is a when because he's prognosticated that Microsoft will buy Sega. When
I'm
Microsoft
trying
buys
to will
Sega,
it into existence.
Everborn Saga will shave his beard. He'll shave his beard. He will put on the garb of Negrodamus. You know Negrodamus with the hat, and he'll use his little pen that he bought from Paris, and he'll walk around and he'll ho everybody. He will be unreachable. This man, the day that happens. So I'm waiting for Sonic to be.
Nobody better not talk to me if that happens.
Nobody wants Sonic.
You know what I'm saying?
All of this Sonic slander. It's okay.
Oh man! All right. So you know what? Let us move swiftly along because there's a lot to talk about. You know, there's a lot in the news. There's been a lot of conversation. There's been a lot to go over, and usually we spend some time, talking about games that we've been playing, and of course we will continue to do that. But let me bring up some conversations just to kind of start that talk, and then we can get into why we're really here, right? Because I know people are here. Oh, and real quick, while I got y'all here, I saw this on Twitter, and I thought this was an absolute travesty. Let me switch it up real quick. So we're about to get into the stories, but before we do get there, do you all know that Skittles is beating Xbox?
Hey, we might get another. We might get an Xbox microwave out of this. So
no, we're not because right now, Skittles is beating Xbox as the most popular brand.
We need a tweet from Brad Sams
to
say, hey, make the Xbox microwave a real thing. And get everybody out here to vote. Telling you it can be done.
And my screen is frozen and stuff. Oh, we're having some issues. Forgive me. Can y'all still see and or hear me? Because if not, this is going to be a funny show.
We can see
okay, good.
Okay,
good. My machine is frozen. I'm not able to switch, but it's fine. The show must go on. I may need to kill it and come back, but y'all will still be in here.
Just pull up an article on the
I'm trying to pull up.
Show Captain Keys. While
I can't. My screen is frozen. I can't. Everything's frozen.
How convenient is that?
Your mouse is moving.
My mouse is moving, but I can't move anything. It's absolutely hilarious. Anyway, let me see if I can switch. Let me put a different browser in the mix here. Maybe I can do that. So anyway, I know, right? Skittles is beating Xbox. How is that possible? Skittles has like 500,000 followers or something on Twitter, and Xbox has 16 million. And somehow Skittles is beating Xbox. How weird is that? Anyway, so okay, I'm going to hold on here. I may have to kill my session and restart it. I hope you guys stay in the show and I don't, because for some reason I can't seem to make any moves at all. I can't move to the different show. Oh, that's weird. So forgive us for a little bit of technical difficulties. Mr. Everborn Saga, if you wouldn't mind taking over, I will kill my session and come back, and hopefully we will be right back.
Yeah, I'm over here looking for Captain Keys. So
you look for Captain Keys while I kill my session and come back. Give me a minute here.
Okay. So where are we? What are we doing here? All right. So Mr. Loon, what are you playing right now?
So I actually need you guys' help. So I'm here. I got a MacBook Pro, like a pretty new one. I made a huge mistake. I should have brought my Xbox controller because then I could have just played on here. But I tried that at home where I have pretty fast internet and it was really laggy. So I was like, it's not going to work out.
Okay.
So the only thing I've been playing, but it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
You ready? SimCity.
We're listening.
SimCity
4.
Wow, we're still making that.
Wow, interesting. This man is playing SimCity 4. Okay,
it's hard, bro. It's not a cakewalk.
Okay,
it's not easy to be a popular mayor. Let me tell you.
So, for future reference, next time you go on vacation or something, bring something like this with you, player. I'm just saying, just like
this is cool.
I'm just saying. Just real quick.
That's
Series S. With a screen, yes.
That's what I should have.
I'm just saying. Let me get the screen. Let me get the screen back on mine. Yeah. All right. So you're playing SimCity 4.
Yeah, but I need to figure out like I want because of course I could play Hearthstone, but I want something. I'm thinking of playing like old school RPGs because I'm sure my Mac can handle it, and I can just use my keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
Tips.
You could just install Windows on your Mac and then play games for real. I'm just saying, just a thought. That's just neither here nor there. Or you could just get to the browser, get some Game Pass games going in a cloud session. Also options.
But I don't have the controller. Could I just use my...
Oh, yeah, he doesn't have the controller. You can use any controller at all, actually. Like, even a PlayStation controller. They don't care.
Yeah,
but okay.
Get a controller.
So, thank you, Mr. Everborn, for vamping while I resolved my technical issues. And here we are. We're back. Let's have a quick chat about some of the light stories before we get into it, okay? So, real quick, this happened, and I want to know, maybe, Mashana, you could shed some light on it. What the heck is going on at Mojang? Since before the consoles released, right? They had a deal with NVIDIA. NVIDIA helped them put ray tracing on it, right? And it was only this is a deal with NVIDIA, blah 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 blah. But then shortly after that, we saw a Digital Foundry exclusive where they got a build from Mojang that had ray tracing inside Minecraft, right? The idea being, ray tracing is coming to Xbox, to Minecraft in the form of Xbox's Minecraft ray tracing implementation, this and that. That was almost 2 years ago, before the console released. It's coming. It hasn't come out at all, right? This week, all of a sudden, if you are part of the beta program, and I am part of the beta program in Minecraft, you got access to the ray traced version of Minecraft on your Series S and your Series X. Everybody was like, whoa, it's coming. And then what they do? They killed it and said, oh, by the way, this was a mistake. What was their exact quote? This is my favorite part of the quote. This is a early prototype that has been removed from the preview and does not signal near future plans to bring ray trace support to consoles.
Wow.
Are you kidding me?
Some producer's hand is all over this.
Go ahead.
I said some producer's hand is all over this, or some.
And before you ask me a question, since Pixelbit G's in the chat, his tweet was right after that, and I think his tweet is completely apt. Wow, it's been like 2 years since y'all showed the demo to Digital Foundry. Why is this normal? What's going on? he said literally exactly the same thing I was thinking. Why the heck have y'all been here for this long, done absolutely nothing, and now you finally release something good? People are excited and they go, oh yeah, nothing to see here. That was a mistake. It wasn't meant to be shown off. Yeah. And they removed it back to normal. What's going on here?
Let me ask you a question before you answer this. Is it possible that we were sold a bill of goods on the whole ray tracing and the ray tracing course thing with both? Okay. And I know that Insomniac was able to do it, but they had to do like quarter
resolution, yeah.
Right? Is ray tracing worth whatever hit it's going to take to perform? On whatever hit it's gonna make on performance, or did they really have ray tracing figured out for these consoles when they hyped them up when they were selling them to us?
So
where is Halo's ray tracing? Because they don't. I will
let the developer among us answer, but let me give you my sense real quick, okay? Like 4K before it, ray tracing was something visual that they could move customers with, right? It's a feature, like many other features. But this is a visual feature that you can see, just like 4K was, just like 3D was, right? But the problem here is, because we are in a world where development has not moved to smart development, it's still how fast is your GPU? How fast is your memory? They're not working smart. They're not using machine learning. They're not using the decompression blocks, both on Xbox and on PlayStation. PlayStation keeps it more quiet, but Xbox is very much out there with that, right? They have all these great features that you've never actually seen taken advantage of. And in that world where we are half last gen, half current gen, you can't use ray tracing effectively, because in order for ray tracing to be effective, you need FSR to offset the cost to resolution. or to
But I
offset the
thought they
resource
had
usage.
dedicated ray tracing cores.
Which they do, but in order to use those dedicated ray tracing cores, remember, they don't have dedicated ray tracing cores that are just for ray tracing. They have dedicated cores that can be used for ray tracing or for other things. It's like basically resources. Use them the way you see fit. But in order for ray tracing to be successful, you have to offset the resource hit somewhere else. But like you said, we are in a half-gen world where everybody still works on Jaguar cores, and in that world, those engines are not able to work smarter. They're still at the gym going, my arms are big because I work out a lot on my arms. They don't do smart development. They do
Are
development
you
based
saying
on
these developers skip leg day?
basically
Okay.
until there is no more last gen console, until there is no more PS4 or Xbox One talked about, you will never see the full benefits of ray tracing. You just won't. Because what they're doing is they're building last gen games and then adding a splintering of that's why they call it ninth gen aware. It's not ninth
So,
gen, it's
so,
aware.
so let me ask you a question now.
Mm-hmm.
Will I get my Steam Deck before or after the proliferation of ray tracing on console?
Oh, you'll get your Steam Deck before the proliferation of ray tracing on consoles, because that's going to take a long time.
So it's that bad.
It's that bad. Mashano,
Okay.
please
So
correct
maybe
me if I'm
next year.
wrong. Please, speak on it. Correct me if I'm wrong. It is a feature like all other features. If there's a problem that I have with the way it's been doled out, it's that they want to move the consumer base, so they pick one feature and they point at it. See, isn't this great? Look how great this is. This is the best thing you can ever have. This means next gen. No, it's one of many features of next gen. But because it's visual and you can see it, they've been shoving it in people's faces all this time. So people expect to see more of it, right? And of course, Insomniac, being the geniuses they are, they gave you ray tracing, but with quarter resolution. It still looks great. So that's all that matters, right? So now people go, see, Insomniac cracked the nut on ray tracing. Why can't anybody else? They are literally geniuses that did the best with what they have. Insomniac giving you quarter resolution on Spider-Man is like Naughty Dog building The Last of Us 2 on PS4. Seemingly impossible, but very possible when you have geniuses at the helm. Right? Doesn't mean that ray tracing is a joke. Doesn't mean that ray tracing is good or bad. It just means we're not there yet. Right? And until they start working smarter, you'll never see ray tracing be as good and as prominent as you do now. And the reason why I say this is because look at my PC. On PC, I got RT set to max. This game is running at 100 and something frames per second because on PC you don't have those limits, right? You can go to leg day every day, all day. You can have 64 gigs of RAM rather than the 16 gigs of RAM. You know what I'm saying? So until they start working smarter on the console space, there will always be a resource hit somewhere else. Mr. Mashana Loon, please, what are your thoughts?
So a lot of this is the outside perception of companies and what is communicated by companies and the actual inner workings of companies. And like all places where you put a group of people together, there are going to be different priorities and different agendas. So you just touched on something really important. Ray tracing, this will move a lot of units. So there's people getting paid very well to think, how is this new console going to move units? Somebody in there heard from a producer or somebody who showed off something about this thing called ray tracing. Whoa, this could be the one thing that we are really going to like sell this on, besides some other things, but we need this one thing to basically sell the dream to the audience, in our case, gamers. It used to be 4K, right? Or remember, HD ready, HD. So just it's kind of
exactly. It's just marketing slogans.
Yeah, as consumers, we're here, and they know we'd love to be at that next level, and the next level is ray tracing. So that's one part of the business. Then there's a completely different part of the business. So I can explain this to you in why didn't Bulletstorm have multiplayer, for instance. It's the same story, and it's the same story with 100 examples in gaming. It's because you'll have one part of the business, the right arm, the right hand saying one thing, and the left hand building something, and they may not be talking to each other. That's two elements. Then the third element is the roadmap and the backlog. So this gaming company like Mojang, I know people there, they're not just sitting around all working on race tracing. And it took 2 years. So the day it was announced, let's say that sales or marketing had said, I think we should announce this with or without the actual technical people's okay. So yeah, go ahead.
Here's what I think about this thing. I just wonder if they look at their user base and the majority of the people that play this and think they don't give a crap about ray tracing. Like their core audience of kids and some educators that play this stuff, and
they don't care.
With their parents, they're not thinking about that at all. So why devote the resources it would take to get it to work right in a way where it's not going to crash the whole game?
And specifically with Minecraft, they way from jump, they always touted that they were going to try and keep the code base the same. So whether you're playing on Switch, whether you're playing on PlayStation 4, whether you're playing on PS5, whether you're playing on your iPad or an Android device, all of the code base for Minecraft is the same. That's why they're super duper ultra, like what do they call it? They call it the super duper mega pack or whatever. It was supposed to be this DLC that was going to bring Minecraft to the future as far as the way it would look and the complexity of it. Eventually they dropped it because, well, the rumor has it that they've dropped it. They haven't really spoken too much of it since they announced it like many years ago, because how do you bring all of that into one unified whole when all these other hard pieces of hardware just cannot, they can barely handle Minecraft as it is today without all that extra, right? So I think they just wrote a check that butt couldn't cash. They came out with it, they said it, they even showed it off, and now they can't go back and say, well, we're undoing it because of reasons.
I mean, but it feels,
yeah, it's what they're doing. They're kind of reversing it because of reasons, but you already announced it. There's already a playable demo of it somewhere. Just give it to the people and be honest about it. Like, it's out there. I played it. It looked good. It looked like this. So why go, oh yeah, that's just a prototype, nothing to see here, no plans for the future. Like, this is your first party console. It's capable of doing it. Even the Series S is capable of doing it, because that's where I played it on. It was looking beautiful. But because of that, now you have the internet all abuzz going, well, they probably can't do it on the Series S. That's why. I just think the whole thing is really weird from a marketing perspective. I don't understand why they either don't officially let it die or just release it, because right now it's becoming more detrimental to their brand than anything else. But okay,
it really does. I know it looks insane from the outside, but it I don't know the details, but all indications are that this is a misalignment between very powerful people.
Between the inside and the outside.
The inside and the outside, and then between what can be done, priorities, and you have to understand these all these game companies and all these tech companies, they have their quarterly meetings where they're like, what are we going to do next? And this is important, and there might be a very big sale coming up, or there might be a very big feature that everybody in the company or somebody important in the company believes in. So now you have this weird situation where somebody said ray tracing's coming. Somebody clearly said, what?
Yeah. Who said you did this?
Yeah. What are you talking about? And then somebody made that group go, oh, well, at least build something. So now there's a demo. But then somebody else powerful said, oh, yeah, this was a mistake. So you have all these different voices, but it's all coming out, and we see it as Microsoft, but it's all a bunch of different people.
But I think like
I don't know the facts, but it looks
like to that end, right? Like just from a business perspective, like what will the ray tracing patch add to Minecraft other than a tech demo for the tech guys who usually play this game?
Honestly,
and they're going to go in and play it for 10 minutes to see how it works, and then they're going
to... I hear you. Honestly, I hear you. But once you've seen the actual full ray trace demo for Minecraft, it really is something else.
Play Minecraft again.
Oh no, but truthfully, like, because ray tracing is so expensive, as we've already gone over, there's such a high resource cost to ray tracing. Certain games work best with ray tracing and certain games don't, right? Because you've either used all your resources for what you're showing, or the game is light enough where you can add ray tracing on top, and it wouldn't presumably make it unplayable. It would still stay stable. Games like Minecraft and Doom and older games of its kind have this unique ability to have the game have its full resource capabilities available to you. You add ray tracing on top, and it adds a whole new dimension to the game. It really, unlike most, Minecraft is unique in that if you're able to implement ray tracing well, it's a showpiece. It really is. That's why NVIDIA touted it for so many years, right? I do agree with you though that the fundamentals of Minecraft, ray tracing has no bearing on it. You can play the game as it is today. It doesn't matter. It's not for any purpose but for the realism factor. But there is a difference where it looks like a cool, cartoony little world. The minute that you apply ray tracing effectively on it, it looks like a real world, weird, dimensional thing. It's you need to see it. It's very unique. That's why those who are about it are very much about it. But you're absolutely right. For those who play it every day, those who play it every week, for those who have made the game the phenomenon it is today, ray tracing matters none. You're absolutely right.
Right, and that's my point. Like, as a tech demo, if you're weighing out other features you can roll out, the people that need to see it, like you're telling me, we're going to go in and see it for 10 minutes and say, wow, this looks amazing. Now I'm going to go back to Doom or whatever.
Well, this is more a problem of they said it would be there and it's not, rather than where is it, I need it. You know what I mean? It's more of, hey, you guys said this would be here. What's going on? That's more of what this is than anything else. But you know what? I do agree with you. Okay, so we're going to move quickly on because I have a few other things I want to touch on before we get to our big story. But because you insisted on it, here you go. Captain Keys.
Who is that?
You're on mute, Mashana.
Could be your uncle or something. Damn, it's crazy.
And I found out he's Ghanaian, so that makes absolute sense why he kind of looks like me. But that's neither here nor there.
You are the same person.
So
he has been on. He's been filming the Halo show and doesn't want to tell us whatever.
So thank you all. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, thanks, Big Bad Boat.
Examples.
Thank you guys for being. I see a bunch of folks in the chat. Hit the like button if you haven't. Subscribe if you haven't done so. We're moving swiftly along. Another quick story. E3 is canceled. Anyone surprised? I'll start with you, Machado.
We don't care.
Did you think it was going to come on this year?
Well, GDC just happened. I had a lot of
yes.
There. So it's a little surprising, but they've been kind of wishy-washy, right? Where with obviously we are in a pandemic. It doesn't feel like we're in a pandemic because it's been so long.
We definitely are. Yeah.
It's like a crappy relationship. At first, you're like, I'm in a crappy relationship. 3 years in, you're just like, I'm in a relationship. You know?
Yeah, basically. I'm just here. I'm here.
I'm just here.
I'm just here. That's right.
I'm here. Okay, so
let's keep it moving. That's fine. Yeah, true.
Let's talk about ray tracing.
True. The news suggests that their plan is to revive the event in a big way in 2023. Do we see that happening?
No.
We don't see that happening.
I don't see it happening. Do you see it happening?
The writing was on the wall when they canceled the in-person event, right? And people had said it was dead then, and so then now they're saying this about the digital event. But at the time when they canceled the in-person event, there was a lot of news stories out about how it's worse than you think, and everyone's pulling out and they couldn't get people to sign up. So I wonder, if I wonder if they were always doing this and they're just saying it now. So and they have to save face for 2023, and they're going to see if they can get people to sign up for next year. But even then, everyone's going to fend for themselves this year, and I think they're going to see that they're going to get a lot of traffic, especially when you have the Summer Games Fest, which I
was about to say, and somewhere Jeff Keighley's sitting there going, doing a little pinky swig laugh.
Because if what I think is happening is Jeff Keighley's show is getting maybe close to or more similar numbers or more, and he's probably charging them less.
Oh yeah,
right?
most def, yeah.
Why spend the money if you're going to get a similar number of eyeballs?
Yep. and not have to spend that as much money as you would with the ESA. Absolutely.
Now,
So
one thing
the
I do
fact that
want
this
to
came out, go ahead.
one thing I do want to say though, like so I've never gotten to go to an E3, so this is kind of a
It's kind of sad. Yeah, I'm a
right.
little sad by it. Yeah.
But there's also, and Marciano, maybe you can speak to this. There's a lot more that happens at E3 than just the big presentations, right? There's a lot of backroom deals. There's a lot of indie devs that get discovered. There's a lot of publishing deals happen there.
Yeah.
So how does that work, and how does E3 going away affect that?
Yeah. So it's kind of like there's two faces to these type of things, like E3 or Gamescom or G-Star, South Korea, where I was, or Gamescom. I haven't gone to E3, but it comes down to the same thing, where you really have this kind of split world between fan facing and then literally a literal back room, like a literal different area,
closed door,
closed doors. You cannot get in, which was I once did not have my pass on me and literally couldn't get in, which was unhandy. But I was actually part of the team. I ultimately could go in, where it's basically like everybody in the stream meeting each other, and there's, let's say, 75% planned meetings, where this publisher will meet with this developer, or this indie will meet with this developer, or this whatever, people meeting, and it's actual, like, it sounds crazy. It sounds like backroom deals, but the foundation for a lot of
it literally is backroom deals, no?
It's literally a back room. It's literally an area with different small rooms set up. Ubisoft, Electronic Arts, they're all there. And then 25% of it is, at 4 p.m., Sony's having drinks at their stand over there. And then at night, there's a party. Oh, hey, I got a ticket for you to the Ubisoft party. You're working for Sony. That's not a coincidence. You're there for a reason. It's to shake hands and to be introduced. And a lot of that is very important for the industry, right? So how this is affected is just in that way. I think it will especially affect the smaller indie developer who gets in there and has a chance to speak with somebody at Microsoft in person, and it all moves more to, let's see if we can find another way, and it becomes a Zoom call. But obviously, that's a lot less personal, right? I mean, I've literally shown gameplay and talked about a game to publishers in South Korea, and then you can hear their concerns, as crazy as, hey, this is a game with tanks, and a Japanese developer being like, is there any way we could get the same game but with girls on the tanks? And you're like, I got to get back to the studio about that. I'm not sure if I can okay that from here. I'm just
can it shoot used underwear instead of bullets? No.
Hey, no, you're not far off. Really.
Oh man, that's crazy.
And the good part is you build a relationship with them, and it's more of an over time thing, because you can meet someone in 2019, and then you guys are both there in 2020. You talk again, you go for dinner, and there's also
what you're saying is
people moving around, obviously, right? Oh, I know this great producer. He's at Ubisoft now, but I think he's going to be at GDC. Oh, we should definitely. There's a lot of that.
So what you're saying is, with E3 being behind us now, that kind of stuff will suffer. Like the where people can meet and shake and have backroom non for public deals and all of that stuff will be a little bit more harder to get at because of this state of the pandemic causing it to die, and all of that.
Of course, we're in an industry that's it's still a relatively new industry, but we're a bit along, so there are a lot of established relationships. So those will continue to stay in touch, and they'll continue when they're in LA, or when they're in San Francisco, or when they're in wherever. They'll continue to meet up. But for that developing of new relationships and the kind of the newer things, I think that will suffer. It all feels kind of like we're all waiting for the tweet where they announce that E3 is just dead.
This seems like it. This seems like that tweet. Yeah. It seemed like that tweet, and then they hedged their bets and said, ESA plans to revive the event for 2023. Yeah, okay, sure. This seemed like that tweet.
That is like, babe, let's get through Christmas and just try again next year. Let's and there's not going to be another Christmas. Okay, so it's kind of I think what they've noticed is there used to be a time where we sat around for E3.
We waited. It was a weekend for us. It was gamer Super Bowl basically.
It's gamer Super Bowl. Those days are
they're gone, unfortunately. Yeah,
and somebody mentioned Jeff Keighley in the chat, and that plays a role, right? Like the Game Awards, and then you have Nintendo saying like, "Oh, we're gonna do our own thing. We're gonna just like have our own show," and then you have PlayStation that is like, "Okay, we're gonna have our own showcase," and then what's the point of E3?
Yeah, so that's the thing, and I see the reason I brought that question up is just because on the comic book side, I see that a lot. In the recent years, I've transitioned from going to the comic cons of the world as a fan to like an exhibitioner. So we had a table at the last NYCC, and there's a lot of deals that happen, and people may come there because they watch the Marvel movies or read DC comic books and whatever, but the meat and potato, like there's real deals that happen, and there's real smaller publishers and developers that can actually make connections there that will have bigger implications for later on in terms of who publishes their deal, who they can get funding from, what idea they can pitch. And so I do think we're losing something. Like you're still going to get your dedicated Sony or Microsoft show, but it's to me it's about more than that, right? And I know a lot of people are saying you don't need E3 anymore. If you only looked to E3 for the big platform holder press conference, then no, you don't need E3 anymore. But I just think it's bigger than that, and there's more.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
More going on.
Yeah. If you're thinking about I meant like for the really like the big oh my god news. That's why we used to be sitting around at E3.
Yeah.
There's way more than that, obviously.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move quickly along because we're burning through these stories. I want to get to the big one. Another short one that I want to bring up and I put this in the camp of, is this news? Like last year, FanFest, I spoke with Aaron Greenberg and who was the head of marketing at Bethesda, Pete Hines. I spoke with Aaron Greenberg and Pete Hines. Got a chance to meet with them and speak with them. I was one of a few people, the FanFest, that got a chance to do that. They basically said exactly this. Oh, by the way, we are working on Game Pass for Family Plan. This was last year. So then I see this come out, and it's dated the 31st of 2022. I'm like, it took them 8 months to actually get this thing. I thought by the time they told us, the logistics had already been worked out. How are you going to tell a room full of people before?
Here we go with the different people, different companies. The left hand's not talking to the right hand.
Yes,
hey, we just announced it. What are you talking? Just announced it. We're first doing this other thing. Oh, this is like a quite common.
9 months ago, bro, they told me this. They told me this 9 months ago.
I don't think this is news until we actually get pricing.
Until we see it. That's right. Yeah.
No. But what is it going to cost? Right.
Well, this is a leak from Jez Corden, so I guess they still haven't officially announced it, but he most likely, as what he says.
Okay, I hate to be that guy, right?
Okay.
But if this is a leak from Jez Corden, why are we showing the Tom Warren article? Can we give the man Jez some credit?
Oh no,
and show
but
the Windows Central article.
Well, okay, fine. I'll go to Windows Central. I just happen to be on the Verge.
Put some respect on Jez's name, and shout out to Tom Warren. I met him back.
Yeah, shout out to Tom.
The Windows 8 launch.
Let's see. Windows Central Gaming. Here we go. So let's find his. All right. So there you go. Happy now?
Yes.
It's still being reported that, and I still consider it duh. We knew this already. This has been known for many, many months. So what's going on here? But okay, I hear you. Jez Corden reported it. He must most likely have come across a document that, as Jez Corden does, he won't put it out there unless he has concrete documentation facts. So that's probably why he's leaking this. But this has been known for quite some time now. The brass at Microsoft has talked about it for quite some time. So I'm not even surprised that this is a news story. I'm surprised that 9 months later it still hasn't been officially, hey, here it is. But yeah, as Mashana, as you've said, Somebody took it and ran with it, while the parties
Yeah,
that the
it's
powers
great.
that be
Let's
are
talk
still
about it.
working the logistics.
Yeah, let's announce it, and then it's like, what do you mean announce it? What are you talking about? What are you talking about
Yeah,
announced? And
absolutely, absolutely.
that
So
happens
okay,
in even in within departments where one part of the department is like, yeah, let's
yeah,
go ahead with the other. What? I thought we were still going to discuss that for the next quarter. Oh no, this is
yeah.
done. Okay.
So okay, I want to get back to the main topic of conversation. Why we're here, why everybody's all been up in arms on the internet about the subscription services and this and that. But there are two stories that I kind of wanted to touch on before we got there, and I don't want to be unfair because there was bad news all around from both platform owners. So I'll just mention it briefly, and if y'all want to talk about it, we will. If not, we'll move on. We had a negative news story about what do you call it? Undead Labs and State of Decay 3, between State of Decay 2 and 3, and all the tumultuous situations that led to that game coming out and led to the founder of the studio leaving. Right? It's a long story, but long story short, there was a bad apple, there was sexism, there was allegations. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on there. But presumably, this story took too long to come out because even the people that they interviewed for the story, which was a lot of folks, they've all said, "Oh yeah, that was then. This is now. The problem has been fixed." But the reason why I bring this out is because they once again speak to the fact that they initially thought that when Microsoft bought them, that the heavy hand of the big corporation would come and ruin their world, and then ultimately they came to the realization of, hey, we kind of wish Microsoft had been a bit more heavy handed. There was some bad stuff going on, and Microsoft kind of let us do our own thing and didn't come in and help us when we needed them, is what they're saying, right?
Wow, you
So
need
it
help. You need help to not do
uh
that.
huh. Well, they're saying that they're saying that the powers that the powers that be, the people who who ran the company were making bad decisions, and they were hoping Microsoft would come in because they had now bought the company, would come in and straighten them out. And Microsoft was very much hands off, which is a good thing when everything's going great. But when things aren't going great, it becomes a bit detrimental because they need that big hand to come in and go, "Hey guys, straighten out," and they didn't, and because of that, a lot was left to fester. Similar has been reported with the whole initiative and insomnia and crystal dynamic thing. Same kind of themes are emerging as this. But I will once again say, it seems that this story took far too long to come out because even the people they interviewed for this article have come out since then and said, "Oh, that was then. We see a lot better culture now in the environment." So I personally don't think it's not a thing that's timely, but I guess they wanted to release it anyway. So that was a bit of an egg on Microsoft's face on there. And of course, on the flip side, PlayStation's laying off 90 employees from North America because they're no longer going to be in. It looks like they're no longer in the retail space of, we sell a game to you, you buy it. We sell a game to you, you buy it. Since they're transitioning into more of a games as a service model, they're kind of getting rid of some of their marketers. So this seems, 90 folks got laid off from its North American business. It's business. It is what it is. I think it's unfortunate. It's sad when you hear
I,
people losing their
I think
jobs.
that I think the business calculation was, why do
Uh-huh.
we need people to market this stuff when we have free minions going
That's
around
right.
just accepting everything we do,
We yeah,
fighting the
yeah.
good fight in the Twitter streets?
And yes, I bring this up because this all dovetails very well into the main story. The reason why we are here, right? The reason why this is going to be such a barn burner of a conversation. PlayStation has finally released what it is calling its competitor to Game Pass, right? PlayStation called it its competitor to Game Pass. Jim Ryan
Where
did.
did they call it that? Where did they say
Jim
that? Because I
Ryan
heard
did. Jim Ryan did.
well, let me tell you why I'm asking, and then show me
Hmm.
where he said that. Because I have spent the last week listening to people say this wasn't designed
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
compete with Game Pass, so you shouldn't try to compare them. Which
Hmm.
my answer to that was, it's coming out of the same bank account if I buy
Hmm.
both of these, so I'm definitely going to compare them.
Yeah. I
That
agree.
being
I
said,
agree.
Where did Jim Ryan? Because this is just so that I have the receipt the next time I hear that line. Show me where Jim Ryan said that, so that I can
give me 1 second. I will find it for you. I will find. Yeah. See, news to come. Here it is. He said it on November 20th, 2020. That there's news to come. Like let's go. PlayStation's Jim Ryan says there's news to come on their response to Game Pass, and then they released this guy. I'll put it in the private DM, and you can use that as your receipt as need be. There you go. But okay, let's get to what's going on here. Okay, so and to me personally, and there's a lot to unpack here, so we can bite this in small pieces, small chunks here. All right, so. To me, I say that the PlayStation Plus premium tier is the subscription service we need to contend with, because that is the new offering, right? They have the essential tier, which is PlayStation Plus as you see it today, with some caveats. Then they have the PlayStation Plus, what was it, extra tier, which is PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now combined. That's all that is. PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now, if you combine them together, like they're called PlayStation, it's called PlayStation Plus Extra now, but before it was just the two different ones. And ultimately, if I'm not mistaken, you also make out a bit in the deal. I think it was like you save, I think, $5 or so a month if you buy them together like you are now versus getting them separate. Then of course you have the PlayStation Premium tier. And actually, you know what? Let me use this. There is also a caveat to this display, and I will get to it because I know people will have words when I use this. There is a caveat which I will definitely bring up. But yes, here's the premium tier. The premium tier, where is it? Here we go. Where is the premium tier? The premium tier, and actually, you know what? I actually don't like this one because this doesn't give you every piece of the puzzle that you're looking for. Let me find the one that does. Where is the premium tier here? Where is it? It would be right here. The premium tier offers you cloud streaming access, right? PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PSP, and PS4 titles, right? The PS3 games can only be streamed. There is no downloading of PS3 games, but there is downloading of other titles except for PS3 games.
That's because it's very hard, apparently, to emulate the cell processor.
Exactly.
Cell processor.
Yes.
Although there's been so many emulators for PS3 games.
Yep.
That have existed for many years.
I mean, worst case scenario, Sony PlayStation could have just bought the company that made one of the emulators and then just repurposed it for this use. But that's neither here nor there. I hear you on that. So, long story short, though, this will be let's see, what are the pricing
I want to
structures?
answer Gabe O's question when you get a chance. So, Gabe O, I saw your question. I'll answer it when Kay Asante is done.
Okay. So ultimately, the pricing structure, and I'm trying to find the best way to show that. Did this thing freeze again? Yes, it did. Oh my goodness, this thing keeps freezing on me for some reason.
Figure that out. Let me talk.
Yeah, you talk to the people.
Okay.
Yeah, mine froze again. Yeah, go ahead.
So Gabe, buddy, pal.
Sir? Buddy, pal.
Here's the thing. I don't think it's a matter of caring more about customers. They both care about what is in the customer's wallet. That is their money-making job. There's no morality in this. I keep saying this over and over again. There's a
what was his question, by the way?
Show friends. It's show business. Gabe asks, do we believe that Microsoft cares more about gamers than PlayStation does? No, I think they both care about money. And I think it is easier to make sort of industry shifting moves when you are not the one benefiting from being the market leader. So it's harder for Sony to make that moves. But my whole thing with this is, let's not pretend that they can't make those moves. They are doing this, and they're doing what they're supposed to do. Because whether they want to be fair to gamers or not, Jim Ryan has a fiduciary responsibility to the shareholders and the board and all those things that he has to make the most money possible while adapting to shifts in the market. I completely understand that. But that is the business case for Sony. And as a consumer, I nor you should give a flying 747F, because this is PG-13, about what is best for their bottom line in their business.
100%.
So again, if you are going to, because this is your business model, I get it. There's a reason you release Spider-Man No Way Home in the theaters and Doctor Strange and Endgame in theaters, because it will make you the most money.
That's
Say
right.
that. Right?
Yeah.
Disney doesn't
don't lie and say this is the only way we can do it. We're just doing the best we can. Nah, man. You have money in your wallet and we want it. Be honest about it.
When Disney or Sony says we're putting out a MCU movie or a Spider-Man movie only in theaters, you know why they tell you they're doing that? Because this will make us the most money. They do not say,
quality Everborn.
If we put it in the streaming service.
If you've been into the movies anytime recently, you see, I forget the name of the actress, expounding the virtue of how the theatric experience brings films to life in a way that does not. I'm like, shut your mouth, man. You just want money out of my pocket.
Right. So what I'm saying is we need to be clear about that. And what is best, and we seem to understand this in every other facet of life. Except gaming.
Yes.
How often do you believe that what is best for a company's bottom line is also best for you as the consumer?
Yeah.
Right. So
exactly.
my thing
or
is,
even the employees.
Right. Exactly. If you are going to charge a similar price, then I get to compare what you're asking for. So if you can't, offer the same thing as your competition, then you should be charging less. And I'm sorry, at a month-to-month basis, they are charging more. And don't tell me, one more second. Don't tell me what about the yearly price? The yearly price is cheaper. I don't know anyone who has paid full price for Game Pass Ultimate. Right. And we just spent a whole 2 years of people saying they don't make any money because people only pay $1 for Game Pass. So are we paying $1 for Game Pass, or are we paying
the yearly price?
Right. So
okay.
Let's just call a spade a spade. Sony is doing what they are supposed to do, and I do not fault them, and I do not think they care any more or less about us gamers than Microsoft does. They both want our money. But now I have to make decisions for my wallet. And this, to me, I just don't like when people tell me something that is obviously a work, because I feel like it insults my intelligence. So say what we all know it is. It will make you more money to not do day and date. And that's
Let me add a little bit of color to your statement because of what Gabo is saying. Because he says he's heard, the reason why he's asking is because he's heard people on YouTube making the hot take that Microsoft is here for gamers, and when everyone plays, we all win kind of a thing, right? Let's be clear what Microsoft is doing. Yeah, let's be absolutely clear what Microsoft is doing here, okay? Both Microsoft and Sony are money-making entities. All they care about is putting money in their pockets, okay? There are two different ways of doing this. And the reason why I personally respect the way Microsoft does it is they're going, hey, just like everyone else, we're trying to get your money. But unlike everyone else, we're going to be honest with you about it. We're gonna tell you what we want from you, and we're gonna tell you what we're gonna give to you for it. And when we do so, and you're gonna see how great it is for you, you will gladly give us that money, and you'll respect us for not handling you. You'll respect us for not going, hey, you can only get this if you sign up here, even though we're lying to you. We'll just be honest about it, and then you'll make that decision. That is why, me personally, I tend to like what Microsoft does, because we all know what are they there for? They're there to separate you from your ducats. That's what they're there for. All of them are there for that purpose.
I won't even go as far as to say who's lying and who's not. I could, but I won't. What I will say is that one company spent $100 billion to put games day and date into a service that is not, if you're smart, not even $15 a month, right? They spent $100 billion to do that to get my money. The other company is saying, for the privilege of being one of our customers, we're not even going to tell you what's in this service, but we're going to charge you $15 a month.
That's right. That's right.
So
Now,
I don't care what makes the most business sense. For me, the message is very clear.
Yeah.
One person spent $100 billion to throw games into this service that they're asking for my money for. The other company who's also asking for my money is saying, we don't know what you don't know what you're gonna get, and we're gonna put the things in there that we feel like. And we're not even gonna give you details on that. So that is, to me, is the difference.
So, Elbon, let's break down some of these options for you, right? Because you said something quite interesting that you brought it up on Boom Show, if I recall, and I thought that was a very interesting take that you brought out. So let's break into the tiers. Let's see what's offered, and let's see how these comparisons really work. Okay? So yes, there are tiers, as you can see, and let me caveat real quick before we start using this document as its solely whole document of truth. This document was put together by IGN, and there's a little bit of shadiness in this document because day and date should be represented, and it's not, which I think is a little shady, right? Two things on this document that I consider are shady. One, day and date should be represented, and it's not. And two, cloud saves are added on like a feature when it shouldn't be. That's like saying, hey, we have this new TV for you. And for this new TV, guess what feature we're offering you? A remote. Yeah, that's part and parcel of the experience. To make it like a feature is not cool. And for IGN to tout it as a feature makes Xbox the outlier, the one that just gives you cloud saves that you should be having already anyway. They're saying, well, Nintendo's putting it behind a paywall and PlayStation's putting it behind the paywall. So I guess Microsoft not putting it behind the paywall makes them weird. I think theirs is the standard, and the others that don't do that should be brought up rather than, oh, they're doing something outlier. So that makes this document a little bit not to my liking necessarily. It's kind of shady, but it still does show us the clear and concise things that these services are offering. So let's use that for the purposes of this, okay? So, like we've said, the Essential tier. Essential is literally PlayStation Plus. Well, okay. Here's the caveat of that. The Essential is PlayStation Plus if you are a PlayStation Plus subscriber today. If you are not a PlayStation Plus subscriber today, and you end up signing on to PlayStation Plus Essentials after it becomes PlayStation Plus Essentials, you won't get the PlayStation Plus monthly games. The monthly games you'll get, but you know there's a library that comes with PlayStation Plus? That library will not be you will not have access to that. And by the way, you're muted, Mr.
PlayStation Collection, right?
The PlayStation Collection, exactly. You will not have access to the PlayStation Plus Collection as an Essentials user. Even though we, who are PlayStation Plus subscribers today, do have access to that PlayStation Plus collection. So we are grandfathered in. Strike one, right?
Strike one.
We are grandfathered in, but if you're a new user and you sign up to PlayStation Plus Essentials, you get no monthly collection. And those of us who are grandfathered in, when our current subscriptions expire and we sign up to the new Essentials tier, we will lose access to PlayStation Plus collection unless we upgrade.
Strike
right? That's the problem. So that's one part of the puzzle that needs to be understood because it's all within that stuff is within the fine print. They say, oh, you get everything you get now. No, you don't. If you are a new PlayStation subscriber and you sign up to Essentials, you'll literally get PlayStation Plus as it is today, but without any of those games. Yeah, you'll get your monthly games.
You get like 2 downloadable games.
2 games a month, and that's it. And access to be able to play online. That's what PlayStation Plus affords you, right?
So that's like the lowest tier. And for
the lowest of the tier.
On Game Pass, you get access to hundreds of games.
100, yeah. And let's be clear on that as well. The Xbox variation on that, $9.99 a month, just like the Essentials tier, but you get access to all of Xbox Game Pass, right? And you get not on PC, Everborn, if you're speaking, you're on mute.
There's
not on the PC. Go ahead.
One caveat with and I needed to correct this from what I was saying
please.
the other day.
Please.
It is true that an apt comparison. Because remember, everything on PlayStation is limited to the console. You don't get.
I was getting to your. I was getting to your point there. I was getting to your point. Yeah, go ahead.
But that being said, if you can spend $9.99 a month on console and get all the games and day and date, but you do not, as of today, unless it's a free to play game, get the online access
to Xbox.
For Xbox Live Gold, right? So
Yeah.
Ultimate includes Xbox Live Gold. So the online multiplayer for paid games, you'll still need a gold
Xbox Live Gold. Understood.
And the Essentials plan includes that, but it does not include any
the library.
Right, it doesn't include the library, so you can't. It's
So there is an offset there. Good point. So on the PlayStation side, you lose access to any PlayStation library, but you do get access to playing games online, right? With that basic plan.
Which is
whereas on Xbox,
that's PlayStation Plus of today. That's all.
PlayStation Plus of today, and on Xbox, their $9.99 equivalent gets you access to all their games, including day and date. But you can't play online unless you add Xbox Live Gold to that mix as well. The base version. And that's $9.99.
That's why they still have.
That's why they have it.
Why they're still charging people
because very interesting thing that they can, a very interesting step that they can take that PlayStation has already done. They can literally slip gold into Game Pass, and all of a sudden Game Pass now has 100 million subscribers, just like PlayStation did, right? They can slip that in.
It won't be 100 because there's a silver package for Xbox Live, so a lot of people are included in that aren't paying, and so PlayStation will tell you they have 100 and whatever monthly active users, but only 46 of them are PlayStation
actually paying.
So how many? And we don't know this number, and I think there's a reason we don't know this number. And I think it's related to the upcoming acquisition. But I think there's a reason we don't know the Xbox Live Gold numbers.
Last we checked, it was 100 and something million subscribers way back when.
That's Xbox Live, including gold and silver.
Yes,
there was never 100 million.
No. Let's be clear. When we say Xbox Live Gold, we mean gold and silver.
Right, but
we mean the Xbox Live Gold package.
We can't say
Xbox
gold.
Live.
Gold is different.
Xbox Live. Yes, you're right.
My point is, gold.
It's fuzzy math. I get what you're saying. Yes.
So, but I think that now that their service fee for online is now going to be considered their subscription service fee, right? Since it's all muddied now on the PlayStation side, I think that Sony is going to go out and say, day one, we have 50 million subscribers to our subscription service. Meanwhile, Microsoft has 25 million. And the I don't know if you'd call it an issue, but the way that works in Microsoft's favor is there are several ways you can view, the FTC can view the Activision acquisition. They're going to say, is it or will it lead to a monopoly? That answer is no. I think soundly most fair-minded people would say no. But the other way is they can look at it in terms of which, are they going to create a monopoly in the service, in the subscription services? So right now, Game Pass has 25 million subs, but you can't say that they will exert undue influence in the game subscription market if Sony, who is currently the market leader in terms of user base and revenue, is one, charging more from a month-to-month basis and has double the users.
Yep, that's right.
So
the
FTC has to review this thing and says, will it lead to higher prices for consumers? Or will it lead to a monopoly? And in both cases, the current market leader is charging more for first-party games.
It looks like It looks like PlayStation has inoculated Microsoft's argument just by releasing this and adding by adding their old tier to this existing and making it like that. Just by doing this move, they have inoculated their own argument against Game Pass.
So if I'm Microsoft's highly paid lawyers, I'm going to say, how could we be exerting any undue influence in the subscription market? We're half our competitors.
Yep, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So as it stands today, right? And I think there's an understanding of what this thing is offering, right? And the one that I personally think is worth looking at is the premium tier, what it offers, what it doesn't offer, And as it stands today, access to old games, yes, that's another piece of the puzzle. This old games here that I think is also worth a bit of a conversation because does it have access to old games? On PlayStation, it says yes. PS1, PS2, PSP, PS3, depending on the tier, right? Xbox, yes. Xbox 360 and Xbox One. This is not depending on the tiers on the other service, right? This is just you are a subscriber. If there's a PlayStation game an Xbox game available, you get access to it. You can even put a disc in your drive, and if it's back compat, it just works. Whereas this one, the reason why I think this list again is a little disingenuous, it just says access to old games. Yes, but if you already own the game, you can't just put the game in your disc anymore. They have not worked that back compat system out. So your PS5 still does not have the capability of playing your old games. You have to actually have this service in order for your old games to be recognized. And it has to be downloaded fresh as if it's a new game. So even if you have old game saves, even if you've owned the game for a long time, that game no longer exists. You have to download it from the service in order for it to be accessible. Whereas on the Xbox side, for example, you can take an OG like 2001 Xbox disc, put it in the series console, it'll recognize it, and you're playing your game.
But that's still if it's on the back compat list, and I think
that is if it's on the back compat list, of course. That is, of course, if it's on the back compat list.
There's no charge for that. These back compat games are what they are able to secure for their catalog. So it's a difference.
That's right.
One is a catalog back compat. The other is a if you own it back compat. But then
if you own it, it's yours. Then you also have a catalog.
Back compat games that are in the subservice as well.
Yep. And then of course we move on to game trials. This again I think is really weird because they say game trials. PlayStation, yes. Game Pass, yes, for select EA games, Ultimate and PC. This is a little weird too because Game Pass as a service does not offer game trials. They just offer you the games.
Well, hold on a minute though.
Maybe they mean like the first 48 hours.
Well, but let me explain. Let me explain what I mean by that. Game Pass as a service does not offer game trials, but Game Pass as a service has put EA Play within itself. EA Play offers 10-hour game trials on EA games.
Yeah.
Right? That's specifically EA Play. Meaning, if EA Play were to leave Game Pass at the end of this year, so go game trials. So technically, you can't say Game Pass has game trials because it doesn't. It's a service within the service that does.
What about things like Second Extinction and things like that, where you get those?
But those aren't game trials. Those aren't game trials. Those were what do you call them?
Game out.
No, I know you did. It's not game trials. They're not demos. They are betas. Like as the game is being built, they let you like be a part of that game for as long as they choose to let you. It's not a trial, and I've been a part of that for many other games as well, where some game studios go, well, we're building this game. For example, the Minecraft situation, where there's the retail version of Minecraft, and then there's the preview version of Minecraft, and the early access. Thank you, Mrs. Joanna Dark. I needed the parlance correctly. It's early access, so they know that there are features they want to develop. They know that there are features that they want to test, so they put it in the Insider program, or they put it in as an early access title, and some people play it. Some people buy it. Sometimes they offer it for free. But for X amount of months or whatever, however long they decide to keep it alive, you get access to the game. Like Second Extinction, for example. It wasn't a trial. It's just a preview. You can play it. And usually if they offer it at a cost, that cost is usually very, very cheap comparison to the end product. When the product finally turns retail, it's usually double the price. But if you bought it early access, it's usually much cheaper. So another one of those things that it seems to me they're trying to fit all of these things within that frame. Yeah, exactly. I see Mr. Big Bad Mo out there. Anvil, I played the heck out of that game. Great game, still in game preview right now, right? That's not a game trial. It's in game preview. While they're building the game, they release certain builds that let the community keep playing and give updates and feedback to make the game better before retail. So I don't think it's necessarily disingenuous that they're being as far as, we're just trying to make it all seem equal. But I think they're trying to fit it all within their comparison frame. So they dumbed some of the features down to kind of make it play well across the board. And I don't think that's necessarily what's going on here. EA exclusive discounts. Yes, they all have exclusive discounts. Cloud saves. Again, this to me is shady because Xbox has cloud saves. Xbox does. Not Game Pass. Xbox does. Game Pass is a subscription service on top of Xbox that goes with you wherever you go. But Xbox is a fundamental platform, has cloud saves. Whether you pay or you're a paid customer or a free customer, Xbox has cloud saves. So to add it here, like, oh yeah, it's part of the subscription, even though they say it does not require a subscription, it should not even be part of this list. And the fact that cloud saves is yes for these other subscriptions should be a black eye on them because they're basically offering something for paid that should be free. That's neither here nor there, But yes, I hear those that say, "Oh, this shouldn't be compared." I hear them. I don't agree,
How not?
but I hear them. What do you think? Now, Everborn made a very interesting, and I don't know if he has returned or not. Everborn made a very interesting assertion when this all this news came out, and I kind of want to hear your opinions on it, and I want to hear the opinion of the folks in the chat on it as well, Machado. He was saying that technically you should only compare the services that are like for like, and in that respect, you can only compare the premium tier of PlayStation Plus to the standard tier of Xbox Game Pass for Xbox. So you can only compare the $18 a month PlayStation offering to the $9.99 a month offering for Xbox. And why is that?
How? Why?
Why? Because the premium tier of Xbox is for Xbox, PC, cloud, everywhere, right? The one that is solely for the platform is the $9.99 offering. And the premium tier on the PlayStation is also only for the platform. It only plays on PlayStation, doesn't play on PC, doesn't follow you anywhere else. So from that mindset, if you're comparing to apples, a comparison of the two services, it should be both services that offer you the features on the same platforms. So one is console to console. That would be the $9.99 a month plan on Game Pass versus the full tier on PlayStation Plus. What do you think of this? When you first, and I know you read it, and sure you heard about it in the zeitgeist. What do you think of this PlayStation scheme? Is this a good competitor? Do they have more to go? Yes, there is no day and date. We all know that. We're contending with that. What are your thoughts, Machado?
Really, kind of, if you step back to what you were just talking about, is so important. When you look at Microsoft's strategy versus Sony's strategy, it's almost concerning to me how behind the game Sony is, where they're still just old school, sticking to their guns. Like we're a console, you're playing on this console, that's it. Where you can clearly tell Microsoft has a bigger plan. Their plan is play anywhere, anything, play on your console, go on a trip and bring your MacBook, play on there. Oh, you have your phone with you, play on there. And I think it's concerning if we think a few years down the road or a decade down the road where this goes. You have very young people who become gamers. Their parents are gamers. They become gamers. And I think what we'll see is, sure, this is nice in the moment. It's a step in the right direction. Will it ultimately, in this quote unquote battle between companies, make a big difference? I think the advantage is strongly leaning towards Microsoft because they're kind of preparing for the next generation of gamer that will be playing on everything. So from that point of view, I'm very concerned for Sony that this is where what they see as their big move. They call it the competitor for Game Pass, but is it truly a competitor for Game Pass? If you think about console,
sure. Yeah.
If you think about consoles, and if Everborn's logic makes sense, if you just want to talk consoles, sure.
Yeah, where they live.
But the fact is, you need to take the premium of Sony and compare it to the base, the entry level of Microsoft. In
order for that to line up, yeah.
And that there was not one executive who said, that's a problem. Because in the perception of the consumer, you're talking about now premium versus entry level.
Well, so to be fair, to push back on that point, and you're right, but to play devil's advocate, people could always say true, but they're not the market leader. We offer that movie-going experience versus their cable experience, if you will, right? We
That
are
is true.
premium. So for us, you'll pay more and you'll be happy with it because we offer the premium. And how are we the premium? Because look at the market. We own it.
Yeah,
Do you think that's a good enough
yeah,
argument?
I think that's their play. I think their play is let's go niche. Let's go on that, let's be the Rolls Royce.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be the Rolls Royce. Let's go. It may be more expensive. It may be more premium, and we're fine with that because
Mm-hmm.
the average revenue per paying user is higher than for Microsoft, and that's kind of where they're betting. And having spent a lot of time in this game of, hey, working on Candy Crush Saga. Let's sell something that's $2 to millions of people
Rather
versus
than selling
yeah,
something that's $70 to
yeah,
100,000 people.
let's sell something that's 70 to 100,000, and
Yep.
it's not a black and white comparison. It's not that extreme,
Mm-hmm.
but this is the first time that I see shades of that of PlayStation or Sony really choosing to be more like the premium. We want to be the premium. Short term,
Mm-hmm.
do I think it will rile up their base and be like, this is awesome? No, I totally see why this is better. Sure.
I mean,
Do
it
I
started
think
happening right now. There are people on Twitter right now going, "We don't want them in a subscription service because the quality will drop." I'm like, why? Because Jim Ryan said so? That's the first reason that you should know that maybe that's not true because Jim Ryan said so.
yeah, so I do get that feeling a little bit about I do get that feeling
Yes.
a little bit about what you said while I finish Evermore. I do get that feeling a little bit about what you said where it's Microsoft is like Netflix. It has
Mm-hmm.
everything, cool stuff and total trash.
Mm-hmm.
Where
You want AAA? You got it. You want AA? You got it. You
you
want
got it,
that
you want
little
trash,
indie thing? Sure.
you got it.
Yes.
Where PlayStation is I think what they're trying to say and they're signaling is come here for your it's less content but higher quality.
Yeah, we're going for quality, not quantity,
So
basically.
Yeah.
Even
HBO
though,
versus Netflix. But here's the thing.
well, hold on.
I know what you're
Even
gonna
in
say.
that
I want to
world,
say it. I want
go
to
ahead,
say
say
it.
it.
I
Go
want to say it.
ahead.
Who won Publisher of the Year last year, and who was most
True.
nominated last year? And we
Yeah.
can't say quality is
Yeah.
what we're charging for if one
Yeah.
side is saying, "Hey, the highest reviewed games of the year are in this service." I'm not talking about how many people played because they had access. I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about highest quality reviews. What did Forza Horizon get? Right?
Yeah.
Widely agreed it was great. What
Mm-hmm.
did Flight Sim get? Widely agreed it was great. You can have your feelings about Halo, but it was one of the biggest launches of the year. This
True.
year, Starfield will be what it is, but they're saying Elder Scrolls, Doom, Wolfenstein, Call of Duty, Overwatch. Those are the big name titles. So Sony doesn't really have the monopoly on quality to say that they should be charging more for that service. They
True.
don't.
Very true.
So this
Very
is
true.
this is
Yeah.
you just touched on the complete core of the problem, which is Sony's inner communication, inner perception of themselves is so strong and built up over decades and confirmed with amazing games and amazing quality. We've always seen that, like, oh my God, that Japanese. I remember back in days when there were racing games and the Japanese cutscenes and the hair was so realistic far before American studios could do it.
Yeah.
They're still kind of going on. They're kind of betting the house on that. And like Everborn said, hey, wait a minute. You're not the only one with premium games.
Yeah. Your competitors coming up.
Yeah. The bet they're making is fans will see that we have the higher quality and they'll be fine with less games.
So let me ask you specifically, Machado, a very unique question, because this is why I wanted you here on the show. And by the way, thank you guys again for sticking with us. We see a bunch of folks in the chat. Please consider subscribing to the channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We're almost at 500. If we can hit 500 today, that'd be fantastic. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. We're bringing you some interesting content with Mr. Masano Loon, who's been in the room with all these decisions have been made. So his thoughts on it are very, very, very interesting. Here's the thing I wanted to bring you to ask you, Machado, ever since this whole thing has started, ever since this conversation of the subscription game console wars, the subscription, I chose that title very aptly for this show. The game subscription wars has. You know what I'm saying? You, as a developer yourself, do you think subscription services for games is bad for games? Is bad for the games themselves? Is it democratizing the games, making it accessible towards all? Because that's a great lofty goal. But as a person who then makes your game, as a person who then spends your 5, 7, 8 years of your life toiling away at every decision, only for it to then join a subscription tier that becomes like a drop in the bucket among many drops in said bucket, right? This is the perception of why it's bad, right? That's where some go with it. Do you think that gaming joining a subscription, or a world where we have a lot of subscription services left and right between Luna and all these others, do you think it works badly for gaming as a whole?
I think that we'll see a delayed effect. That's a really great question. I think one issue I have with it is kind of you get towards a kind of a flavor of the month type of game. You see that especially with Game Pass. You'll see like, oh, and this game is coming to Game Pass. Oh my God, everybody's talking about this game. It's amazing. Everybody's playing it. 1 month later or 2 months later, everybody's talking about this one specific game. So obviously when you lower, like the barrier to get to a good game, it used to be you need to pay. Now it's like you can just play it. It definitely has a big impact. So selfishly thinking about the developers out there, the producers, the designers, the writers, the people coding, the marketing teams, I do think like, wow, I really hope that they're able to capture a fan base that allows them to have a lucrative business, which is obviously more likely when you're just selling them, right? From a very, very simple business point of view. What I think is like the kind of what I said, there's going to be a delay. The same question was around Netflix, right? So we see that can be very successful. There will be this kind of delay where the business catches up to the fact that there's way more players now, because now since you've made it so easy to play games, I play games I would never even touch, and I would and that's kind of a sign of the market maturing, the players maturing. So I think early, like the initial years, there will be a hit for the creators, which I think will be caught up as kind of the plan, Microsoft's master plan of more players on more devices grows.
And they're also, and much like the Spotify model, it's kind of like the more you play it, and it's not with all of them, but there has been reports that Microsoft does multiple deals, and one of the deals they do is the more you play, the more royalties the game maker gets.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Tunic being an apt example right now. Like we said it on the show. I believe that the specifically Elden Ring has eaten Tunic's lunch, which is unfortunate, right? In a world, because remember, Tunic is on Game Pass, sure, but Tunic is also accessible by purchase, right? In a world where Game Pass doesn't exist, Tunic is lost, in my humble opinion. Why? Because Elden Ring took all the attention, right? Some people played Tunic, but not enough, in my humble opinion, have played Tunic. Not enough, right? So
we don't know that though, right?
Well, right? Sure. I'm being speculative. That's fine. But I guess what I'm saying is, because Game Pass exists, the dude who spent 5 years of his life can at least sit back and chill still, because he got a lump sum right from jump to get into Game Pass, right? And then there'll still be residual sales while people discover, hey, this Tunic game is actually pretty good. So the tail may end up being longer. Whereas if Game Pass wasn't part of the equation at all, it'd be everybody's talking about Elden Ring, and Tunic might, obviously people will discover it later and they'll discover how great a game it is, but that lump sum check may not come from jump. But because of Game Pass, the dude now, even though I bet you, and I could be wrong, but I bet he's sitting there going, son of an Elden Ring, mother, because if it wasn't for Elden Ring, his game would be on the lips of every human right now, because it's that good. It really is. I think it's a special, singular, indie magic. It is Fez. Like, it is a powerhouse of a game that didn't get the attention it deserves because another powerhouse of a game was there before it, right? But now he at least has the Game Pass lump sum in his pocket to kind of just be like, okay, well, let's ride this out and see how much money I get from folks who discover it later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Man, 50,000 copies sold anyway, and he'll after Microsoft's 30% cut, he'll get $1 million. And it's one guy.
And think about it. After Microsoft's cut, the Microsoft won't even if you think about it, that cut's not even that major because they've already given him a lump sum for his development, right? To get it into Game Pass in the first place. So yes, they will take a cut after each copy sold, but in a Game Pass world where they're also looking at potential how many people have played, engagement numbers, and you'll get money by that. That muddies the waters of how much we're giving and taking a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So ultimately,
it talks in the chat.
Oh yeah, I see him. Yeah, shout out to him. Thank you so much for joining us. He was a prior guest. Very good brother. Doing really interesting works. He does very interesting. Essays and stuff. He has his own YouTube channel. If you haven't checked him out, Tate Talks. You should definitely go check out his stuff. Very interesting conversations that he likes to bring about gaming characters and this and that. He was only appreciate him for being here. You were saying, Mr. Everborn.
No. Yeah, I think I think that people, because again, I keep saying this, I didn't play Death's Door until a month after it comes out. So I think that because it's in Game Pass, you'll see people begin to talk about that over time. I don't think it's going to lose in the news cycle. I think as the summer goes on, especially because like what's coming out this month in April, I feel like we're coming to a little bit of a drought. And I think people, once they're done with Elden Ring, I think a lot of people will come to that. They might come to think it's a palate cleanser, but then they'll get caught up with it. So I'm not worried about it. And I do think a lot of people did talk about it. I'm not seeing as many clips shared as I would like, but that could just be the Twitter algorithm, right? It's an Elden Ring world and we're all just living in it. So provided Elden Ring doesn't come out with a DLC this summer, I think
you think Tunic will be fine.
Okay.
But let's get back to that main question. And you two can answer Everborn.
Hold on.
Go ahead,
Tay asked the question. He says an interesting question could be, when does Game Pass stop helping? At some point, maybe developers reach out to MS and say, no, they don't need it.
They don't need it. Yeah. They don't need as much.
Let's expand on that. I think the thing is, it depends on how many games are in the service. So if you have like a big name, and we could get to this point, they buy enough studios, you could have a AAA game coming out every month, right? Between Bethesda, Activision,
between third and first parties.
Surely that's surely the plan,
right? So and if they do that, if you're a smaller developer, does all the oxygen in the room get sucked up by the game of the month and no one looks at you? Because there's a lot of stuff on Netflix that has been released for a while.
You know what?
Like, where did this come from?
You know what, Everborn? Right? You bringing that Netflix comparison, that is so apt, because if you look at Netflix's history, for a long time it was this great movie's on Netflix, this great show is on Netflix. And then eventually Netflix transitioned to, now we're making the great show. We're making the great movie. So that third party deal is no longer why people go to Netflix for. So you and Tay make a very good point, because there will come a point where their first party offerings are so much like Netflix right now, where you don't come to Netflix for the next Spider-Man anymore. You come to Netflix for Umbrella Academy, their own production. That will happen.
Yes, but I still think Netflix lives and dies off of the weird shows that are in there that you watch, where somebody says, are you still watching? And then someone's daughter, right? But I do think that there's a lot of room in there, but it becomes, when you're a certain size, you have to say, will I be overshadowed by these releases? I think the problem with that is, if Microsoft gets to that place where they're doing a big name game every month and they're timing it in that way, right? Because at a certain point, I think that, like, as of today, a lot of publishers will sort of say, well, I know Halo is releasing in the fall, but so am I. So what? Let's let them compete. As Microsoft owns more studios, they could say, well, Halo's releasing in the fall, so we're going to release Doom in the spring. And then we're going to release Forza here and COD here. And so
in doing so, it could stifle every third party around them. I get that.
Exactly. So you may even not be able to get away from that draw. But that being said, I think the idea of people coming into the service and having that many potential eyeballs, because if it gets big enough, even the big oxygen sucker title, there could still be room for you to eat and have tens of millions of people looking at your game day one. And if tens of millions of people are in that service talking about it, that even serves as advertisement for people not in the service to buy it.
We've seen it. We've seen that happen. We've definitely seen that happen.
I think once you get to those economies of scale and they say, listen, we're not making you exclusive. You come into Game Pass, you're going to have those players in there. Hopefully you have a business model to monetize all those players, but also you're going to make sales from the other platforms, right? So I do think that we could get there, but that would mean Microsoft is firing on all cylinders, and depending on who you ask, that could be a tall order for Microsoft to be firing on all cylinders.
Okay, so
I think we're a while before we get there.
No, I completely agree with you, 100%. I think eventually that could be a factor in the equation, and in the short term, I don't think it definitely. I think it is not, and so far the company and the platform has been pretty open about that. So we can't look at them shady just yet. There may come a time where we will have to look at them shady, but not necessarily right now.
If it's a matter of shade, it's just a matter of if they are. And remember, they have to do this, right? Because like Netflix, they're going to see other people are going to see the money.
Oh yeah, of course.
They're going to want to do their own services. If they come in,
happening now.
Ask for too much money, so they need to get to a place where their own studios at Microsoft Gaming every month is releasing a high-profile title. Every month, because they don't want attrition. So you have to create that FOMO of I don't want to pull out this month and come back in 2 months when something's coming. Got
him good. Got him.
But because I know there's going to be something worth my time every month.
Yeah, so I keep subscribed.
Subscription. So that's what they're building towards. They're not there today, and they're relying on partner deals and
to fill it in for now.
To fill it in the space until they can get there. But make no mistake, they're moving to a place where they only have to rely on themselves. Whether that's good or bad,
we shall see. Yeah, that we shall see. Yeah. So I put it for my visual viewers. I put a poll in the chat. PlayStation Plus. Are you subscribing? And when I mean PlayStation Plus, I mean the new PlayStation Plus, not what we've known up until now as PlayStation Plus. I'm talking about the new. And when I say PlayStation Plus, I'm not even talking about the essential or even the premium tier, because that's just existing stuff that's been rebranded. I'm talking about that premium tier with the PS3 games, cloud streaming, this and that. Who out here is like, yep, give me that, put it in the chat. Let's have a conversation. I would love to, and an earnest conversation. I don't want this, poking gamers with sticks stuff. I would love to be one of those folks who, like, my dream is to have 2 subscription tiers, the Xbox One and the PlayStation One. And between the two, I have no need for anything else. Like that solves my gaming problems, right? I think for the most part, that has solved it for me on the Xbox side. PlayStation, for me personally, this so far has not done it for me. I'm still waiting for day and date. And when day and date becomes something that we see in our existence, which I still think will happen, because like I said, don't listen to what Jim Ryan says. Listen to what Microsoft has said a couple months ago. And everyone has said that as well. If you want to see what PlayStation is going to do, don't listen to what PlayStation does.
Look at what Microsoft.
Look what Microsoft did a while ago.
Or 2 years ago, right?
That's right.
But I do think for me, it's not about day and date. They don't have to do that. I'm not forcing them to do that. But I think it is rude that they're going to think they can charge more to give you less. So
to give you
unless
less,
they lower the price, I'm not subscribing.
I agree.
Unless if they offer day and date, they could maybe charge $20 a month. But
what do you think, Machado?
Charge more than $15 if you're not offering day and date in my book.
I agree. Mashana, what do you think? What do you think of the pricing? What do you think of the lack of day and date?
Yeah. I think it feels weird. I totally get where they're coming from, but you pay $9.99 on, and one, it's a direct competitor, you get access to a library. You pay $99, you don't. So
You
those
get
are
nothing.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would have rather seen Sony be a little bit more bold and take the hit. I totally get where they're coming from. They're crunching numbers and they're like, hey, we're a premium, and everyone's right. If you do console for console, then it all makes sense. So that's something that's a little concerning, because in the perception of the person who's making the choice, they'll be like, okay, for the same money, I get hundreds of games, including AAA games, and so that, and then it almost feels like they should have waited a little longer when they had a little bit of. It was kind of like they jumped the gun, like, I'm tired of this Game Pass stuff. Let's just put this thing out. We're not totally there yet, but
You're absolutely right, bro. That idea of jumping the gun. Because I
have
asked
a
the question,
question.
why release this news for a subscription service that starts in June? That
Do you
seems
think
very
that
much
has anything to
jumping of
do
the
with
gun.
the Bloomberg leak, and they knew it was going to come out, so they had to say something now to
Counteracting bad
control
news
the
with good
narrative,
news?
right?
Oh, okay, I see what you mean.
Because what happens is, if you have a leak and you have these weird prices and people are just making up prices, you could kill the service in the minds of the consumer before you even launch and get to tell your own story. So they tell us about the pricing now, so people don't run wild with it and kill the hype in people's heads. And then they'll give you the details when they get there later.
I mean, technically, Everborn, the rumor was cheaper than the reality, so they kind of counteracted the narrative a bit, right?
Really help them.
The one that we didn't like.
The second rumor was going crazy, right?
Yeah, it's true. But the first rumor, where we were like, "Oh, this ain't it," that was even cheaper. We were like, "This ain't it," and now they have it even more with no day and date. So I do see your point. They were like, "Yo, we got to take the reins of the story before it goes even further out of our hands than it is currently." I completely understand.
Yeah,
but yes,
but they have people who are very well paid to contain a rumor or come up with one of those standard, standard press releases. Oh, contrary to, I think what they should have done, they should have made a huge splash with this. They should have launched this with one or two incredible titles that would have made everybody go, I can't justify as a gamer not having this. And that's where I think where they want to go, like calm, lead up. I think they should have done the Apple approach of, and it is available today. What?
And Doovie, that's what we're here for, brother. We're here to educate. He didn't know that the PlayStation Plus collection was being removed for new folks. We're here to educate you.
Yeah, I think they're betting on you not knowing.
Read the fine print. If you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber today, you get to keep that. The minute your subscription ends, you have to join the essential or the extra. Before you get
because
to that.
It sounds crazy to go from, hey, I'm paying for something and I'm getting things without any notification. Things change.
Yep, they're taking it away from you.
I'm happy you released something new. What does that have to do with me? Oh no, you're not getting it anymore. You now have to pay $5 more, $8 more.
And speaking of that, right? And we're about to round the bottom of this conversation. It's been great to have you guys here talking deeply about all these subscription services and what we want and what we don't want. Speaking of that. Shout out to Double Barrel Gaming, Mr. Boomstick XL. He said this to me a couple days ago when this news first broke, and I thought that was super interesting and a missed opportunity for them. Okay, like I said, I've already said this. I want 2 subscription services, one for my Xbox, one for my PlayStation. That way, I don't necessarily have to worry about it. When the games show up, hey, I get to try it, right? As a content creator, as a person who loves games, I want that to be just an option for me. If a game comes out, I want to be able to try it without having to worry about 70 here, 70 there. What if they had offered some? And let's be fair, they haven't. They have left some wiggle room in their press release to say that at some point, very well, have more features added to this mix. Right? They may add more stuff to the.
Okay, I think we lost you.
Oh, I was wondering if it was me.
what I'm seeing here on my screen. But
Yeah,
we're
we
back.
hear
We're
you.
back
Yeah,
at it. We're
we
back
lost you
at
for
it.
a second,
We're back.
but
Yeah. The connection was acting up at all. What if they had said something to the effect of, because you are a premium subscriber, you no longer have to pay $10 extra for the PS5 versions? What if they'd done that? They didn't, but they could have done that, right? That could have enticed someone like me, right? They're
yeah,
still talking about bringing all their games to PC. They're very gung ho about it. I double dipped and bought God of War on PC. I bought Horizon Zero Dawn on PC. What if they said, hey, premium tier subscribers, if you are a PC player as well, you get access to all of our games on PC day one. We'll give you the code for it, or we'll build a launcher that then gives you access to those games on that service as well. Other ways of finding value, all of that could have been added here, right? And it would have enticed someone like me to jump in, right? So with those things not in, even though, yeah, day and date, I get all that, but there are other things they could have done as little stopgaps to kind of make it, hey, this is kind of useful, this is kind of beneficial, right? Get rid of the $10 tax for those who are part of your subscription tier, right?
yeah.
That gives you value. That gives perceived value, but they of course didn't do that. What do you guys think? And this will be
It's
my
kind
last
of
question before we round the end up. And I'll start with you, Mashano. What could they have done to make this more enticing to you?
it is classic. It's also a cultural thing, right? Where
Mm,
an American company clearly is like, look at all this stuff you're gonna get for cheap, and with the idea of you coming on and being a lifelong customer, and they're making crazy money off you over your lifetime. So your
mm-hmm,
LTV, your lifetime value as a consumer, where the Japanese mindset clearly is there's a certain price to pay for if something is better, and you just have to pay that. And
mm-hmm,
that crossing that cultural gap and translating it to a worldwide user base, where North American user base and our cultural way of looking at things is clearly a challenge for Sony. And they should have said, in my opinion, oh yeah, with that, forget that $10 tax. That's just a layup. It's so simple. Oh, let's throw something in. Oh, and also this, and also
yep.
that little thing.
Yeah, they lose their $10 a month from that subscriber, but guess what you gain? A
A
subscriber that
lifelong,
pays a monthly subscription fee for
yeah.
your monthly service. You lose $10, but you gain so much more by that. Why
That
didn't you think of doing that?
that
That
is
makes no
really a
sense to me.
cultural thing. When you're in Tokyo, I've been in
Yeah.
Tokyo, and you're
Hmm.
going to one of these arcades. You have businessmen in suits standing in line to pay whatever $1 to
Yep.
play that game, and so
Yep.
it's still that old school mindset,
Yep.
and
Yep. And
simply
I
said
see
they
Fuzzy.
need to get with the time.
True, true. I see Fuzzy Belvedere also bring up a very good point. Besides that $10 tax, they could have even added Funimation or Crunchyroll, two services they also already own. That could have been very well for a subscription. Add value to your existing tier. That would have gotten me interested in signing up. I really do hope that this is all still in the works, and that they hear some people's consternation about it and what potentials there, and they still add it, right? Maybe that's the reason why they had this conversation early on, because they're trying to get feedback so that they can, revise the strategy a bit. I hope this comes out. I hope, hey, you get Crunchyroll, or you get this, or at least, or I think Tay even said that before. Tay Talks, I was talking to him a little while ago. He said, what if PlayStation announces that you won't get day and date, but we can guarantee you every 6 months or a year after any game comes out, it will be in the service. That would be good. Then at
It'll,
least you have an idea of, hey,
it'll be a
I
start.
know that exactly.
So all right,
Hmm.
that's a good question. And for me, it
Hmm.
couldn't be. It would have to be 3 months, right?
Okay.
But Marciano, in terms of when you've done a few product launches, right?
Hmm.
When do the bulk of sales happen? And I'm talking about like main sales, not DLCs and microtransactions. When you release a game, what is that window before you get a steep drop off?
Yeah, it's all about that initial phase,
Isn't that
which
like
is
3 months or so? The
yeah. So
first
let's
three,
let's say
yeah.
something like that. I mean, it's nobody will be concerned if after 6 months the numbers have dipped. Everybody
Hmm.
will be completely concerned if after 2 weeks the numbers have dipped.
Right.
Right.
And so this is
So
and to that point, this is why I've always felt like you could a better way to sort of, and this is sort of answering the question, a better way to create value here is giving consumers the confidence to say, hey, look, we're not $2 trillion. We're not doing day and date, but what we are going to do is give you the promise and confidence as a consumer to say, hey, every PlayStation title, 3 months or 6 months, whatever it is, whatever that time frame is, it will be in this service. So if you can't buy it day one,
that would be cool.
6 months later,
that's what HBO Max has done to me, right? That's why I have an HBO Max subscription. I know that those movies will not be there day and date, but the 40-day window exists, and after that 40-day window, I get to watch that movie.
For the
whether
bigger
I paid
titles
for it or not.
like the Batman, where you don't want to wait and you want to be a
can
part
go
of
to
the
the theaters.
conversation, you go to the theater and you buy it.
That's
and
right.
I think that's the happy medium to say, we are going to charge you this amount. We're not going to give you day and date, but guess what? Here's the promise. What they've done with this is says, we are going to give you what we want to give you when we feel like giving it to you. And we have so much wiggle room that if I don't,
and we have so much political capital that you guys will still buy it because we're PlayStation.
Right. If I don't want to put Ragnarok in this service for 2 years, you're just not getting it for 2 years.
Yep. And you're going to have to deal.
Nothing, and I don't owe you that. I'm taking your money, but I don't owe you that certainty. So for me, that's what rubs me the wrong way about it. It's not morality. It is just you're asking for my money. This is a business transaction, and you need to create value for me. So the only reason I'm signed up for a game subscription service among all the other subscription services, because they're all really getting us by death of a thousand cuts. Because you remember, everybody was like, oh, streaming, I don't want to pay this big cable bill, so I'm going to pay for Netflix. But then now you're paying for Netflix, and then you're paying for Hulu, and then you're paying for Disney Plus, now HBO Max, and boom.
And you know what? You know what, Everborn? You know what, Everborn?
Cable in the first place.
Everborn, it sounds like you have so much different disparate things you're paying for. Wouldn't it be amazing if somebody were to bring all that together and kind of call it like a bundle? Back to the 90s, you know what I'm saying? Now all of a sudden you got Crunchyroll with your game subscription, with your movie subscription. Oh, we're back in the 90s again. No?
Somebody's gonna come around and say, hey, Netflix and YouTube Premium and HBO Max and Paramount Plus. What if we package that all together?
What if we bundle you together? Call you a bundle? You know what I'm saying? Add internet service to it as well. You know.
So my point is, with all these sub services that I'm signed up to, I'm not keen on another one, and the only reason I'm signed up to Game Pass is for that confidence of day one games. They will be there. I know that. And so and Sony can't
and to get back,
I can't confidently give them my money every month.
And to get back to Gabe O's original question, because what you said here really points to that, to get back to the question he asked originally, that is the reason why folks are very much in like with Microsoft in the way they do things, right? As soon as the deal for Activision Blizzard King was even like words on people's lips, what did Phil Spencer go? First thing he said, as soon as this deal inks, guess what? Game Pass, baby, you getting it all. That's what they did. Even before the ink was like even touching the paper, they were like, don't worry, right? Don't worry. Call of Duty, doesn't matter what you want. It's all coming to Game Pass. And because they say that, even though it's not coming this year, probably not coming next year, it's coming when the ink is dry, which is sometime next year. You'll get me continue to subscribe. Why? Because I know that this service will continue to bring me value because they keep televising that. They keep going, hey, we're bringing you more, right? Even though it may not be here today, they're still very much in that business of, we know you pay, we know we want you to keep paying, so we're going to keep giving you reasons to keep paying. And so far, it seems like PlayStation isn't in the business of doing that. It's kind of like, well, you know we're great, so give us money so we can give you things that are great. What is it going to be great? When is it coming? Don't worry about that. We're great. Give us that money. You know what I mean?
Perception in a very complicated, busy pandemic world with lots of stuff going on. It really helps to say the stuff you love, day one.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
it just helps.
This has been an awesome conversation. Let me close out our poll here. Our poll has us 20 to 80% no to yes. So clearly, you know our audience. They're like, screw that BS. I'm keeping my money in my pocket. I'm with you guys.
Show me something first, and then you can
show me something. Money. That's right. Oh, and welcome Mr. Boomstick Excel himself. Thank you, sir, for pulling up. We're right at the bottom. You can actually start at the top and catch the conversation. We're about to go offline. It's been an awesome conversation. Mr. Mashano Loon, I appreciate you pulling up last minute. I was like, bro, this is a conversation I think you'd be very interesting in having, getting
actually,
a developer's perspective.
When the news dropped, I was like, I tweeted both of you, like, I can't wait to see the podcast on this one.
Yes. So we appreciate you being here, lending your intelligence to the conversation. Tell the fine people where they can keep up with your ongoings on the internet.
Yeah, well, I'm on Twitter at Marshano Lowen, and hit me up. Any questions? And Everborn, we got to chop it up, man. Any help you need, I'll be there. I'll connect you to anybody I can.
Appreciate that.
And thank you so much for being here, Mr. Everborn Saga. Hey, we said we'd do 2 hours. We're at 2 hours and 20 minutes. That's great for us, man. Where can people find you this weekend?
Well, right now at 12:30, you can find me on Xbox University's channel. We're doing a new episode of the X Class. So go over to his channel if you want to see me probably talk about this stuff, but a little more animated. And then go to everbornsaga.com because the Redlands is available now. You can get caught up in the latest book we just released. And we are still in the process of shipping out all those Kickstarter orders. If your book included a hardcover copy, we got those in last
Still
weekend.
Waiting on mine, bro. Still waiting
coming.
on mine.
It's
Just
coming.
Just saying.
So check out everbornsaga.com. Check out Boom's channel on Monday where we're going to have a very special guest, Colt Eastwood.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be awesome.
So lots of stuff going on. So go to Xbox University's channel now. Go to Boom's channel on Monday to see Primetime Gaming and Colt Eastwood mix up, and go to everbornsaga.com to get the books. And you can find me on Everborn Saga everywhere. And if you see me on Xbox, I'm probably going to be playing Elden Ring for the next 2 months. So there we go.
So thank you guys so much for being here. Again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. As for me, TKO Asante on Twitter, on Xbox, on PlayStation, everywhere you can find me playing, I'm there. Subscribe to me. Follow me. I'll follow you back. Always want to have games with conversations with the gaming public. You can also find me tonight on the Shop Podcast with PTK Blam, Pong Soul, and the rest of the crew. I'll be there. They sent me the invite. I'm happy and honored to always jump in there and have conversations with those gentlemen. Their podcast has been, it's basically the backbone of the gaming community. So if you haven't checked out the Shop Podcast, you should definitely do that tonight. I will be there. I'll be talking more games. But it's been a great conversation for Mr. Mashano Loon and Mr. Everborn Saga. We've had such a great time, such a great conversation. We continue to talk about these conversations as they come up, and we will continue to do so. For those of you who are listening to this after the fact on the audio podcast, I appreciate you folks. I barely send any kind of notifications or whatever, but still every week the numbers are climbing higher and higher. People listening to the show. We try to keep it PG-13 for you and the fam in the car. If you're doing that, thank you. Folks have been sending me a lot of comments. Hey, we like your show. Maybe you should do this. Maybe you should do that. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much for giving your constructive criticism and your feedback so we make the show much better than it already is. It's always about just talking to the community and being able to enjoy this gaming thing that we all do. So until next week, we appreciate y'all coming to check this out. You'll see it post live on Twitter. Watch our back shows. Check out some of the other episodes we've done. I will put the show note in the show notes. You'll find links to Mr. Mashano Loon's Twitter handle. You'll find links to Mr. Everborn Saga's channel, the everbornsaga.com, where you can find more of the great comic books that he does. But until next week, have an awesome weekend, and you'll catch us again soon.